Chapter 42:15. Did you all hear that? We, alchemists, don't follow any dogma when refining pills. Instead, it's based on people. If you don't even understand this point, the pills you refine will never be the best. All right, let's not talk nonsense anymore. Among more than 10,000 of you, the effects of the pills are not decided by words. We still need to conduct practical tests. The shopkeeper of Bauha said in a clear voice, "Our requirements are not high, as long as the quality of the pills can reach 60% perfection. If you can't reach it, then I'm sorry, you will be eliminated. In addition, we will give 10 million high-grade spirit stones as a reward to the alchemist with the highest degree of perfection. The test method is very simple. The puppet will tell you everything. Now, everyone leave your position and stand to the side." When they heard the words of the shopkeeper of Bauha, many people's faces had already changed. After passing through many obstacles, they finally succeeded in refining the pills. In the end, they still had to pass this test. The confident alchemists didn't think much of it. They simply stood to the side. As for those who were not confident, the expressions on their faces were not good. But other than nagging a few words, they didn't dare to do anything else. Otherwise, what awaited them would be a severe suppression. Start the test. As soon as the voice of the shopkeeper of Bauha fell, all the puppets flew to the crowd's pills. Soon, a light screen appeared above the heads of the cultivators, one after another. The quality of the pills was clearly shown on it. Some people jumped up excitedly. Some people cursed in annoyance. F***CK, I thought I could get away with it. I didn't do anything wrong. Why? Why is my pill only 50% perfection? F***CK, are these people stupid? How can my perfection be 0? You must have fallen into some kind of trap. Although the pill has been refined, it's still not enough. Although the pills have been refined, there is no effect at all. Who can be worse than me? My perfection is actually negative. In other words, what you refined is poison. F***CK, you might as well change your profession to Poison Master. The group of people cursed, but they didn't dare to do anything. They were all teleported out of the small world. They could only look at the big screen outside and sigh helplessly. Ling Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There was really someone who could refine a pill meant for saving people into a pill meant for killing people. This person could be considered a talent. At this moment, there was a sudden cry of surprise. 80% perfection. This is the best result so far, right? Who is it? Hearing the exclamations of the crowd, Ling Xiao turned his head to look and was quite surprised. It was actually the woman in green. To be honest, he felt that he had underestimated this woman in green. He originally thought that it would be enough for the girl in green to pass, but he didn't expect her results to be so good. Look over there. 82% perfection. It's old Demon Han. Another cry of surprise was heard. The results for the green spirit are also 90% out. 90%. He didn't know how these puppets judged the medicinal pills. Everyone's results came out at different times. But for now, the results of the green spirit were still the best. Green Spirit looked at Ling Xiao with a smug expression and said, "Brother Ling, this kind of alchemical pill has a perfection rate of 90%. So it should be the highest, right?" Ling Xiao completely ignored him because at this moment, Ling Xiao also felt that it was strange. Why wasn't his result out yet? It's out. It's you, Dan. The perfection rate is also 90%. Hearing the cheers of the crowd. But Yu Dan sighed. In the preliminaries, she was more outstanding than the green spirit. Who would have thought that it would be a tie this time? Mr. Ling's result is not out yet. Yu Dan was most concerned about Ling Xiao's result now. Not yet. Ling Xiao laughed bitterly. Just at this moment, an even louder noise sounded. This attracted Ling Xiao, Yu Dan, and the green spirit to look over. Damn, 95% perfection rate. It's already close to 100%. Who is this so powerful? He's actually stronger than you, Dan, and the green spirit. Someone exclaimed. The green spirit and Yu Dan's eyes were also filled with surprise. They only treated Ling Xiao as an opponent, but didn't think that there would be such an expert in the crowd. Sure enough, there were hidden dragons and crouching tigers among the alchemists. That person is the alchemist who used the water-dissolving flame, like Ling Xiao. The leader of the Lulua cult frowned. He's indeed a powerful person. The pill with the highest degree of perfection I've ever seen was 95%. There shouldn't be any higher than this. Ling Xiao's result is probably the same. The shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall exclaimed. Who has the information of this person? The leader of the Lulua cult asked. After missing out on Ling Xiao, he didn't want to miss out on another genius. This person is from the Black Fiend Devil Country, a 5th grade alchemist, the same level as the Green Spirit and the Green Spirit. He's 45 years old. He's only 45 years old, but he's already a 5th grade alchemist. This is a complete dark horse. I'm afraid he's even more powerful than Ling Xiao. The leader of the Lulua cult shouted excitedly. Unfortunately, he was soon slapped in the face. A cry of surprise came from the crowd. 100%! 100%! How is this possible? Hearing this cry, the leader of the Lulua cult and the shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall looked at the competition venue. Finally, they saw the perfection rate displayed on the light screen at Ling Xiao's position. That's right, it's indeed 100% perfection. But how is this possible? Is this kid a monster? I've refined pills my whole life, but I've never refined a perfect pill. How can he refine it? There must be a problem. Yes, there's a problem with that puppet. We request a new inspection. The green spirit shouted loudly. That dark horse was older than him, so he didn't care too much. But Ling Xiao was clearly only 18 years old. How could he? He couldn't accept it. Ling Xiao, what do you think? The shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall asked. Whatever. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. As the saying goes, true gold fears no fire. What was he afraid of? Good. You have backbone. The shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall controlled 4 puppets nearby to check. After a long time, there were still 4 puppets with 100% perfection. How can it be? The green spirit directly collapsed to the ground. This was too much of a blow to his confidence. Brother Green Spirit, you don't have to be so surprised. It doesn't seem that difficult to admit that I'm better than you. Ling Xiao looked at the green spirit and smiled softly. I'm convinced. I'm completely convinced. Yu Dan smiled bitterly. Ling Xiao's performance was really amazing. Whether it was refining pills or fighting, they had left a deep impression on her. It was impossible for her to not be convinced now. The dark horse alchemist was also shocked. His eyes were filled with extreme shock. No way, this kid is actually better than me? This is too embarrassing. The dark horse alchemist's eyes were filled with shock and bitterness. He was a master alchemist. His actual age was actually more than 200 years old. This time he came to the Fengdu Devil Kingdom because of a mission. At the same time, he participated in the alchemy conference so that it would be easier for him to sneak into the Yu family. But who would have thought that he would be defeated by a little guy in the first round of the assessment? How could he endure this? Chapter 42:16. All right, the first round of the exam is over. 2,000 participants are left. Now, let's take a 10-minute break. Soon, 10 minutes passed. 2,000 participants had entered their seats. Right now, all the ingredients and pill formulas had been changed. The second round is still pill concoction, but this time there are no problems with the ingredients and pill formulas. Even the method to control the flame and the pill formulas are recorded in the soul force. You can imitate them perfectly. All right, let's begin. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall announced. The moment he sat down, a treacherous smile flashed across his eyes. Shopkeeper, you're really bad. The hierarch said with a bitter smile, "I think many people are going to be taught a lesson this time. If we really do as you say, then we definitely won't succeed." "Hierarch, you're really amazing. You're able to see through my little trick with just a glance," the shopkeeper said with a smile. "Divine speed pill?" Ling Xiao looked at the pill formula. This was a pill that was specially made for warriors below the third divine core realm. It could instantly increase one's attack and movement speed by 50%. The effect was pretty good. The concoction method was simple as well. Ling Xiao had concocted this pill before, and it only took him 3 minutes to concoct a bunch. There's a problem. The simpler something was, the more problematic it was. Although the time given was only 2 hours this time, it was still not enough. That was still too long. For an ordinary alchemist, it would only take them an hour to concoct the divine speed pill. What was he going to do with the remaining hour? There must be a problem. Just like before, Ling Xiao wasn't in a hurry to start. He had plenty of time, and there was no need for him to be in a hurry. On the other side, the dark horse alchemist didn't start immediately either. Instead, he quietly looked at the pill formulas and ingredients. Just like Ling Xiao, he also felt there was a problem. But he didn't read the questions beforehand, so he couldn't tell where the problem was like the hierarch. He still needed to carefully observe the questions. About 10 minutes later, he smiled and said, "These old fogies are really bad. Why are they messing with these little guys? I wonder if they can tell where the problem is." He raised his head and looked at Ling Xiao. He couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. At this moment, Ling Xiao actually closed his eyes as if he was sleeping. This kid is really carefree, but don't underestimate him. This guy had just managed to refine a perfect pill. This time, it definitely wouldn't be too bad. This old man must not lose to him again. Thinking of this, he began to refine the pill. Before him, many people had already started refining pills. Those people really believed what the shopkeeper of the Bauhaus said. He actually didn't carefully check the pill formula and ingredients before he started refining. Of course, there were also many cautious people. For example, Green Spirit and Feathercore. After losing the first round, they definitely couldn't afford to lose the second round. After carefully observing the pill formula and herbs, he confirmed that there was indeed no problem. Only then did the two of them begin to move. But every step was done with great care. He wasn't as flustered as some people. It was as if he would be rewarded if he could refine the pill earlier. Bang! Suddenly, a rumbling sound rang out. A puff of black smoke came out from a certain location. In this round of assessment, there was no black protective wall. Because the refining method was the same, there was no need to be afraid of plagiarism. After this person exploded, almost everyone who had nothing to do turned their heads to look over, including Ling Xiao, who also opened his eyes. That pill refiner's face was black from the explosion, and his hair stood on end. Impossible. The pill formula is correct, the herbs are correct, and there's no problem with my refining method. How could I fail? How could it be? There was only one chance. If he failed, he would be directly eliminated. This was reality. Because in reality, it was often impossible for two sets of herbs to appear at the same time. Generally, rare pills only had one set. You didn't have a second chance. If you failed, you failed. Although the formula of the shattered pill holy water was precious, the ingredients were also precious. The Yu family didn't want to waste it. Naturally, they wouldn't let such a person advance. This person's explosion made Green Spirit and Feathercore stop refining pills at the same time. They had just extracted all the herbs at this time. They hadn't fused them yet. In other words, there was no problem with the previous process. The biggest problem was the following fusion. If there was really a trap, it should be in this aspect. Bang! Suddenly, another person exploded. Bang! 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 Almost at the same time, the first batch of pill refiners who had started refining pills also exploded. Each of them was covered in dirt. However, they were also dumbfounded. There's a problem. There must be a problem. Before they were teleported out, this was the only thing they left behind. This made those who were still in the field extra careful. Virtually everyone would carefully carry out an inspection when refining pills, and they would check repeatedly. There's no problem with the test. There's something wrong with your brains. I'm sorry, this time I'm going to take the lead again. The dark horse pill refiner's laughter suddenly sounded. At some point, he had finished refining the pill for the second round of the test. At this time, only an hour had passed. This person is so strong. Even you, Curran, who didn't know how to refine pills, could see this dark horse's strength. Yes, I guessed the problem because I knew the content of the test in advance. However, it only took him 10 minutes to see through the problem. This guy is definitely not an ordinary person. The Lulua cult leader couldn't help but say, I'm afraid he's going to win this round. Not necessarily. Refining pills is not about time, but the effect. As long as it's successfully refined within 2 hours, it's fine. Fast doesn't mean it's good. It just means that you wasted the other half of the time. You didn't make good use of it. The shopkeeper of Baohe Hall was more optimistic about Ling Xiao. But he doesn't seem to have done anything. Yu Xiangtian frowned and said, It's been so long. He has been resting with his eyes closed. Is it because he hasn't found the problem, so he doesn't know how to make a move? I'm not too sure about that. But I believe that he will give us a surprise every time. The shopkeeper of Baohe Hall felt that he was a little blindly trusting of Ling Xiao, but he just believed it. On the other side, Sword Maiden Qinglian suddenly said, Scarlet Flame, do you feel it? And I feel it. Isn't that guy Fire King? Ancestor Scarlet Flame nodded and said, This old guy is my uncle. I'm too familiar with his aura. Why is he here? Who knows? But this old guy is shameless enough to compete with a group of children in alchemy. Ancestor Scarlet Flame said in a bad mood, You can't say that. Among the 100,000 people participating this time, there are more than 10 who are over 200 years old. Sword Maiden Qinglian smiled bitterly and said, After all, he is Fire King, your uncle. It's not good to say that. End of this chapter. Chapter 42:17. So what if he's my uncle? I've long been unhappy with him. I just can't beat him. There's nothing I can do about it. Patriarch Scarlet Flame instantly withered. Young man, do you want me to tell you the problem of this assessment? The Fire Emperor looked at Ling Xiao with a smile and asked, You can forget about it, Elder. Although you discovered the problem, you still can't help but follow the conventional method. The perfection of the pills refined will definitely not exceed 95%, and the results will be no different from the first round of the assessment. Moreover, your method will waste a lot of medicinal herbs. I just observed carefully. Although the medicinal herbs on this table can only be used to refine the divine speed pill ones. But it's actually a bit of a waste. If you can reach the limit of tempering, it won't be a problem to refine 2 divine speed pills. Ling Xiao looked at the Fire Emperor. Although he didn't know this person, since the other party provoked him, he couldn't admit defeat. What? Hearing Ling Xiao's words, everyone was surprised, including the shopkeeper of the Baohe Hall and the leader of the Lush cult. These two were the main people in charge of this alchemy conference. What Ling Xiao said was right, but it was only a theoretical possibility. Although those medicinal herbs would be wasted to refine 1 divine speed pill. However, it was almost impossible to concoct 2 seraphic speed pills, unless there was no problem with the control of the fire. But was this really something that a human could do? Little guy, what you said is just a theory. I know better than you, but no one can do it. Of course, the Fire Emperor knew this. No one can do it? What if I can do it? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. If you can really do it, I'll accept you as my disciple. The Fire Emperor said, Accept me as your disciple? This isn't a reward. You're the one who's taking advantage of me. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, Let's change the condition. What? You actually said that I'm taking advantage of you by accepting you as my disciple? The Fire Emperor was extremely irritable. He almost exposed his true identity. However, when he thought of the mission this time, he still suppressed his unwillingness and did not reveal his true strength. Otherwise, today's alchemy conference might not be able to continue. Of course, not to mention anything else, in terms of alchemy, you are inferior to me. Ling Xiao said confidently, "You lost to me in the first round. You will still lose this round." "Brat, you sure are arrogant," Fire Emperor sneered. "Then tell me, what do you want this old man to do?" "It's very simple. If I can do it, then you have to promise me one thing." Although Ling Xiao did not know the identity of this person, he could already feel the strength of the other party. Letting the other party owe him a favor was extremely beneficial. Normally, big shots wouldn't go back on their words easily. After all, reputation was very important to them. They were not willing to throw away their reputation like feces. If you want this old man to commit suicide, wouldn't this old man do it? The Flame Emperor said unhappily, "Don't worry, Your Excellency. I won't ask for anything that you can't fulfill. Besides, you don't believe that I can do it, right? What are you afraid of?" Ling Xiao mocked. "You don't have to mock me. First, tell me, if you can't do it, what will you lose to me?" Fire Emperor asked. "Simple. If I lose, I will be your disciple. How about it?" Ling Xiao smiled. "OF*CK, you brat, you won't lose out either way." Fire Emperor was so angry that he laughed. "You're not willing?" Ling Xiao asked with a confident smile. "All right, this old man promises you. How about this?" Fire Emperor really cherished this disciple. He actually agreed. Yu Xiangtian, Yu Qiren, the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall, and the leader of Luluo cult. Even Green Lotus swordswoman and ancestor Scarlet Flame were stunned. Everyone could tell that Ling Xiao was taking advantage of both sides. Whether he lost or won, there was basically no loss. They thought that that person would definitely not agree. Who knew that he actually agreed? And he agreed, so straightforwardly. Everyone was dumbfounded. The young master is indeed the young master. As long as someone has a good eye, they can tell that he is a promising talent. Fire Emperor must be determined to accept him as a disciple. Green Lotus swordswoman smiled bitterly. "Yes, although I hate Fire Emperor, I have to admit that this guy is one of the top existences in terms of alchemy and martial arts. If the young master can become his disciple, then this time the matter of the Yu family saving people will become even simpler." Ancestor Scarlet Flame also sighed. "Then, do you think the young master can succeed?" Green Lotus swordswoman asked. "Is there even a need to ask? Of course it will succeed." Forefather Scarlet Flame said with a smile, "Young master never talks big. Don't be fooled by his usual arrogance. Although he is arrogant, he will never be arrogant for no reason. Since he said so, he has that kind of ability. I also believe in the young master, but I don't understand why he hasn't started alchemy yet." Green Lotus swordswoman frowned. Even if they made a bet, Ling Xiao still had no intention of making a move. He was still resting there with his eyes closed, as if he had given up. "Brat, are you trying to act tough?" Fire Emperor couldn't help but ask. "Not interested." Ling Xiao shook his head and said, "I'm waiting for a time." He looked at the huge clock on the wall. At this time, an hour and a half had already passed. Only a few hundred people were still on the field out of more than 2,000 people. The elimination process was really powerful. One had to know that there were 100,000 people in the beginning. Only 2,000 were left after the first round. This time, only 500 people were left, and this elimination was still ongoing. Ling Xiao looked around and saw that everyone had already started the final fusion. It's about time. After such a long time of accumulation and preparation, I should be able to finish it in one go. He really wasn't pretending. The reason why he hadn't made a move was mainly because he was adjusting his soul force and immortal fire. Others thought that he didn't move, but in fact he had been busy for a long time. It was just that others couldn't see or understand. Boom! A white flame burned in Ling Xiao's hand. He finally started. But why doesn't he seem to be using cauldron? Is he using fire to temper it directly? Seeing this scene, many people paid attention. Ling Xiao's alchemy method was always so different. In the first round of the assessment, he used the water-dissolving flame. In the second round of the assessment, he didn't even use a cauldron. Immortal fire. It's actually an immortal fire. This kid actually has an immortal fire. The Fire Emperor was the first to get excited. He had been in the alchemy business for more than 200 years. Those who had mastered an immortal fire were all old guys who were 100 or 200 years old, and there were only a few of them. He could count them with one hand. He really didn't expect that Ling Xiao, this kid, would actually master an immortal fire at the age of 18. It was too amazing. No wonder this kid was so confident. However, even if he controlled an immortal fire, it was only a possibility of increasing his theoretical value. In the end, he still couldn't succeed. He still didn't believe that Ling Xiao could use those herbs to refine 2 divine speed pills. Chapter 42:18. Looks like the rumors are true. This guy really does have an immortal fire. Yu Dan, who was refining pills, turned to look at Ling Xiao. Her eyes were filled with surprise. In his heart, there was a sense of loss and frustration. Although she was the Demon Emperor's disciple, she didn't have an immortal fire. Hateful guy. He really does have an immortal fire. I thought it was just a rumor. Lu Ling was depressed. He had lost to Ling Xiao in the first round. He would probably lose again in this round. He was unwilling to accept this. Ha ha ha, this kid is amazing. Not only does he know how to dissolve the flame, but he also knows how to refine pills with pure fire. I'm afraid even you aren't familiar with this kind of technique, right? The shopkeeper of Baha Hall looked at the Lu cult leader and asked, "Aren't you the same? Refining pills with pure fire has a high demand for soul power. Although the pills refined are pure, the success rate will be greatly reduced." Is he serious? The Lu cult leader frowned. Nothing is impossible. Hasn't he been creating miracles for us? I really want to see to what extent this guy can perform miracles. The shopkeeper of Baha Hall was excited. He wasn't young anymore. If he could see this kind of alchemy method in his lifetime, it could be considered a fortunate thing. But what exactly is the problem you're talking about in this stage? Yu Qiren couldn't help but ask. It's the pill furnace, right? Yu Xiangtian suddenly said, as expected of Demon King Xiangtian. Although he doesn't know how to refine pills, his eyes are sharp. It is indeed a pill furnace. There are no problems with the pill recipe or the ingredients. But there are some problems with the pill furnace. If this isn't discovered, the pill refining will definitely fail. There were already some clever children who used the props on the table to remove the problem. They were very careful and did it beautifully. The Dark Horse pill refiner was the first to discover the problem and dealt with it the cleanest. Lu Ling and Yu Din also did well. Old Demon Han didn't disappoint. But Ling Xiao, this kid, was even more surprising. He gave up on the pill furnace. There was already a problem with the pill furnace. Even after it was fixed, the problem couldn't be completely solved. It would still have some effect on the medicinal pills. But if we use pure fire to refine pills, this problem will be completely solved. The shopkeeper of Baha Hall explained excitedly. He's really a talent. Rare, too rare. Yu Xiangtian sighed with emotion. However, refining pills with pure fire is still very difficult. Refining a single pill is already a huge problem. It was simply impossible to refine 2. And there was less than half an hour left. Can you do it? The leader of the Green Vine cult also voiced his objection. Even the Flame Emperor had the same thought. Therefore, they watched very carefully. They wanted to see what kind of tricks this kid could play with the immortal fire. Ling Xiao didn't care about the discussions of the outside world at all. After making sufficient preparations, this alchemy was nothing more than an assembly line project to him. He didn't even need to use his brain. A total of 12 types of medicinal herbs rose into the air. It was engulfed by the immortal fire and began to spin wildly. Smelting. Impurities kept flying out from the side. But surprisingly, they didn't splash everywhere. Instead, it landed in a glass basin. At this time, most people had already finished refining pills. The number of people in the arena had decreased to 400 people. However, whether these 400 people could stay or not, it was really an unknown factor. After all, they still had to pass the pill test. Lu Ling, Yu Dan, the Flame Emperor, and the others all stared at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao didn't want to show off, but he inadvertently became the most dazzling star in the arena. His every move was being watched by others. Admiration and jealousy spread among the crowd. What a fast refining speed. This kid's control of immortal fire is even better than this old man's. Is he an old monster? That's impossible. Looking at the age of his soul, he is indeed 18 years old. The Flame Emperor began to feel confused. The title of Flame Emperor was not self-proclaimed, but given by me. It was because he was very good at playing with fire. But today, in front of Ling Xiao, he felt that his ability to play with fire was not enough. This was too strong. Perhaps he had to beat Ling Xiao. The only possibility was that he relied on his experience. However, refining the herbs is not the most difficult part. The most difficult part is still the fusion. Also, there is not much time left. Can you really succeed? The Flame Emperor admired Ling Xiao, but he still couldn't believe that Ling Xiao could be able to do it in just half an hour. He had finished refining 2 divine speed pills. Moreover, he had used pure fire to refine the pills. Those hands are simply dancing. That's right. It's like a musician playing the zither. I have never seen such wonderful control. The Lulua cult leader shook his head and smiled bitterly. He felt like a frog at the bottom of a well. 10 more minutes. Everyone looked at the time and seemed to be even more nervous than Ling Xiao. The refining was complete. The fusion began. He still didn't use a pill furnace. The flames gradually became smaller, and the temperature was accurately controlled. At this moment, Ling Xiao had completely entered the realm of forgetting everything around him. There was only pill refining in his eyes. Everything that had happened had been thrown to the back of his mind. This kid actually has such strong concentration. This is something an alchemist can't lack. The Flame Emperor sighed. At this moment, a loud sound suddenly rang out. Everyone turned their heads and saw that something had exploded on Lulua's table. What are you doing? Did you do it on purpose? Yu Dan frowned. Lulua was too petty. He actually used such a method to affect Ling Xiao. Shameless. I was just careless. Lulua said indifferently. Just as he finished speaking, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. The terrifying aura caused Lulua to tremble in fear. Then he was lifted up. Senior, please have mercy. Ling Xiao doesn't seem to have been disturbed. His concentration is more powerful than we imagined. Yu Dan saw the Flame Emperor lift Lulua up with a fierce look in his eyes. She was shocked and hurriedly tried to persuade him. The Flame Emperor glanced at Ling Xiao. Everything in the outside world seemed to have nothing to do with him. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief. He threw Lulua in the direction of the Lulua cult leader. Take care of your disciple. Don't let him embarrass you again. The Flame Emperor snorted coldly and returned to his original position. Does the Flame Emperor want Ling Xiao to win or not want Ling Xiao to win? The Green Lotus, swordswoman, asked doubtfully. This old man is more stubborn. He likes to fight fair and square. A loss is a loss and a win is a win. He hates it the most when others play tricks. If Lulua's actions disturb the young master, This old man will definitely kill that kid. Ancestor Scarlet Flame laughed. Why do I feel that this old man is quite cute? The Green Lotus Swordswoman laughed. Cute? You haven't seen how he beat me up in the past. Sigh, let's not talk about it. It's a sad thing to talk about. Ancestor Scarlet Flame shook his head. His entire body trembled. All his past experiences appeared in his mind. Chapter 42:19. Pill Formation. When the time reached the last 5 minutes, Ling Xiao extinguished the immortal fire. 2 golden god speed pills shone with a dazzling light. They flew into the box that Ling Xiao had already prepared. At that moment, the entire audience burst into cheers. At the beginning, many people were actually just watching the show. However, towards the end, many people had actually already put themselves in Ling Xiao's shoes as he refined pills. It was as if they were Ling Xiao. It was precisely because of this that the moment Ling Xiao succeeded in refining the pill, they were so happy, because in a trance, they thought that they had succeeded in refining the pill. The earth-shattering cheers were like a wave rushing through the small world. Ling Xiao smiled and looked at the Flame Emperor, who was staring at him in shock. Senior, does the bet still count? F***CK. You actually succeeded. Fire Emperor never thought that Ling Xiao would succeed. He knew very well how difficult it was to refine pills with pure fire. As long as there was a slight problem with the fire, the pill liquid that had not solidified would drip to the ground. It would cause the pill refinement to fail. Unlike a pill furnace, even if the pill liquid dripped, it would still be in the pill furnace and could continue refining. But now, Ling Xiao had not only succeeded in refining pills with pure fire, the most amazing thing was that he had really refined 2 god speed pills. Fire Emperor felt as if he was experiencing a dream. Crazy guy, but I can't help but admire him. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall shook his head gently. Ling Xiao was the boldest and craziest person he had ever seen, but he was also the most skilled and confident alchemist. There was no one else. He did not accept any rebuttal. Yes, if he didn't have confidence, he wouldn't have dared to make a bet with that dark horse alchemist. He wouldn't have dared to do this. After all, the probability of failure is very high. He doesn't seem like the kind of person who would recklessly take risks. Yu Xiangtian also sighed with emotion. For a moment, he wished that Ling Xiao's surname was Yu. In that case, the Yu family would really have a chance to become the strongest family in the Heavenly Demon Ghost region. No, even the strongest family in the 4 regions and 9 realms. Yesterday, he killed Yu Zhan. I really loathe him. They even wanted to kill him. But today, seeing such exquisite alchemy skills, I couldn't help but admire him. This person is really both lovable and hateful. Yu Qiren smiled bitterly. Congratulations, Ling Xiao. Yu Dan looked at Ling Xiao in a carefree manner. She knew that no matter how much she said, it would not be as practical as simple congratulations. To be honest, when you used pure fire to refine pills, my heart almost jumped out of my throat. I'm really worried for you. I didn't expect that you would actually succeed. Thank you. Actually, I wasn't that worried, because I believe I will succeed. Ling Xiao smiled. If he didn't have this confidence, he wouldn't have acted so pretentiously. He was not a reckless person. Impossible. How could this be? How can he be so outstanding? I don't believe it. Green Spirit felt like it was about to explode. An unprecedented, stifling feeling rose from the bottom of his heart. How could an unknown brat be more outstanding than him? Enough, Green Spirit. This is only the 2nd round of the examination. As long as you pass, it's fine. There's no need to be so outstanding. Don't forget the alchemy skills I taught you. As long as you get the championship, no matter how outstanding his performance is, it will be meaningless. He will still be defeated by you. The more he looked at this disciple of his, the more he disliked it. On the other hand, Ling Xiao made him happy. That should be his disciple. But a disciple was a disciple. He had to support green spirit. Fortunately, the alchemy conference was not based on the total score. No matter how outstanding the previous rounds were, as long as you lost in the last round, it would be meaningless. At most, you would get some spirit stones as a reward. Master, I understand. Green spirit took a deep breath. Finally, it gradually calmed down. A fierce expression appeared on its ferocious face. Just you wait, Ling Xiao. The next round is also the last round. I will not lose to you again. With the alchemy skills you taught me, I will definitely surpass you. I will get the championship. Now, I'll let you smile first. At this moment, Ling Xiao was not looking at him. Instead, he was looking at the Flame Emperor, waiting for his reply. Kid, I'm willing to accept my loss and promise to do something for you. The Flame Emperor was a straightforward person. If he agreed to Ling Xiao's bet and refused to fulfill his promise, he could not afford to lose face. You are indeed a man of your word. As for what I want you to do, I haven't thought about it yet. Can I owe you first? Ling Xiao smiled. Aren't you afraid that I'll run away? The Flame Emperor asked. You won't run away because you can't afford to lose face, Ling Xiao said indifferently. Although he did not know that this person was the Flame Emperor, he was very clear about this person's temper. This kind of person would definitely not go back on his word once he agreed to do something for you, because they valued their face more than anything else. Humph, of course I won't run away, but I still want to make a bet with you. Do you dare? The Flame Emperor was also a person who was unwilling to give up. He had lost the bet to Ling Xiao this time, so he naturally wanted to earn it back. Let's talk about what we're betting on first, Ling Xiao said indifferently. Don't worry, I won't bully a child like you. Betting with you is an insult to me. How about this? Let's bet on who will be the champion of this alchemy conference. How about it? The Flame Emperor said. It was not easy to come to the Fendu Devil Kingdom, so the Flame Emperor did not want to lose to a kid here. It was probably impossible for him to win the first 2 rounds. But that was not the problem. There would not be any traps in the last round. It was probably an assessment to test the best alchemist's level. He believed that, in terms of experience and knowledge, he was definitely stronger than Ling Xiao. Therefore, he would definitely be able to pass the final test. Sure, Ling Xiao smiled and said, What's the bet this time? You agree? The Flame Emperor was stunned for a moment. This kid was confident enough. Was he not afraid of failure at all? Why not? I'm definitely going to win. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Good kid, you're really arrogant. Good, it's good that you agreed. The bet is very simple. If I lose, I'll promise to do one more thing for you. If I win, you'll be my disciple. Previously, the Flame Emperor felt that Ling Xiao would have an advantage if he took in a disciple. But now he finally realized something. He was actually the one who had an advantage if he took in a disciple. With such a disciple, not only could he pass on his legacy, his prestige in the City of Gold would also increase unprecedentedly. No problem. Ling Xiao nodded and agreed. Why wouldn't he agree? He did think that he would definitely win. Since it was something that he would definitely win, there was no need to think too much. All right, the second round of the assessment is over. Next, it's time to test the pills. According to the usual practice, the medicinal effects of the pills were tested. It was still Ling Xiao who took first place. 3 Xiao Shu A superscript 1. 3 cubed carat X carat M is worth collecting. Chapter 40-20. Not only did Ling Xiao refine 2 divine speed pills, but he also refined 2 divine speed pills. Moreover, his perfection score had reached an incredible 100%. Naturally, he ranked first. The Fire Emperor was still in second place with a perfection score of 95. As for Green Spirit and Yudan, they were still in third or fourth place. Old Demon Han was in fifth place. The girl in green was more surprising. Although she didn't rank high in this round, she still passed. Ling Xiao had obtained the best results in the first 2 rounds of the assessment. Therefore, he was also rewarded with 3 Supreme Grade Spirit Stones. 3 Supreme Grade Spirit Stones were equivalent to 30 million Superior Grade Spirit Stones. For most alchemists, it was an astronomical figure. After all, Supreme Grade Spirit Stones weren't really in circulation in the 4 regions and 9 realms. The key was that there were too few of them. The second round of the examination ended. There were originally 100,000 participants. Only 100 people were left. This was enough to show how difficult the competition was. All right, it's getting late. I believe everyone is a little tired. The examination will be temporarily suspended. Tomorrow is the most exciting finals of the Alchemy Conference. I hope that everyone who passed the examination won't be late. I also hope that the audience will continue to support us. Of course, this last sentence had to be said. What the audience brought to the Yu family was definitely not just face, but also real income. Hearing what the shopkeeper of Baha Hall said, Ling Xiao curled his lips. How troublesome. Can't you finish it in one day? Are you made of iron? Aren't you tired at all? Yu Dan was simply speechless at Ling Xiao. After 2 rounds, from her physical strength to her mental state, she felt incomparably exhausted. If she didn't rest for a night, she estimated that she wouldn't be able to pass the next round. Looking at the others, most of them were the same. Of course, the Fire Emperor was an exception. The old man also mumbled. Clearly, like Ling Xiao, he felt that this rule was too troublesome. He still wanted to beat Ling Xiao in the finals. He actually had to wait for a night. Depressing. The one who felt the most fortunate was, of course, Green Spirit. He still wasn't skilled enough in the alchemy method that he learned from his master. Therefore, he needed time to hone it. It just so happened that he could practice it tonight. Green Spirit, let's go. The leader of the Green Vine cult knew that time was of the essence, and he called out to Green Spirit. The master and disciple turned around and left. Before he left, Green Spirit looked at Ling Xiao with a cold and vicious gaze. He thought that he could scare Ling Xiao with his gaze. Hilarious. Kid, let's go drink together. The Flame King rushed over. He grabbed Ling Xiao's arm and said, Don't. I'm still underage. Why would I drink? Besides, we don't know each other well. Ling Xiao said helplessly. Strangers the first time, but friends the second time. Isn't that how friends come to be? What are you afraid of? Without another word, he dragged Ling Xiao out of the room. Yu Dan and the woman in green, who originally wanted to congratulate Ling Xiao, couldn't get close to him. Keep up. Green Lotus, Swordswoman, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame followed him. Even if they joined forces, they still wouldn't be a match for the Flame Emperor. But he also had to be responsible for the young master's safety. In the evening, Fundu City seemed to be more lively than usual. The Flame King dragged Ling Xiao to a nearby restaurant. He found a private room and went in. Why are you two following us? Although Green Lotus, Swordswoman, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame were already very careful, they were still easily discovered by the Flame King. My dear uncle, what exactly do you want? Ancestor Scarlet Flame was an impatient person. After he appeared, he directly exposed the Flame King's identity. Who's your uncle? Shut up. If you ruin my mission, I'll pull out your tongue. Sit down. The Flame King frowned and ordered the two to sit down together. Then he looked at Ling Xiao and said, You're not bad, kid. You can actually get the help of Green Lotus and Scarlet Flame. It seems that you must have an extremely strong background. No wonder you don't want to be my disciple. Senior, who exactly are you? Ling Xiao asked. What do you think? The Flame King asked. I understand. It's an old man who has an affinity with fire. Ling Xiao had already guessed this. It was mainly because of Ancestor Scarlet Flame's words that confirmed his thoughts. Junior greets Senior Flame King. Ling Xiao stood up and bowed. All right, Don't casually expose this old man's identity. After all, this is Fondue City and there are many eyes and ears. Who knows if there are any ears around? The Flame King waved his hand. Senior can rest assured about this. Junior dares to guarantee that, at the very least, no one outside this room can hear our conversation. Ling Xiao said confidently. Array formation? The Flame King was stunned for a moment and finally noticed the special energy fluctuation in this room. Good boy. I didn't expect that not only are you talented in alchemy, but you also know about array formations. This is really too surprising. Senior, you don't have to praise me. The reason why this junior is willing to follow you is because I want to ask why you are here. Perhaps we can help you. Ling Xiao said. You want to help this old man? I'm afraid it won't be that easy. The Flame King sighed and said, Let me tell you this. Huang Jindi's daughter is cursed. She must use the blood of a martial artist with the heart of the heavenly demon to cure her. But where can I find this thing? Later on, this old man thought about it. The blood of Ling Jiao Jiao, the demon son of the Fondue Devil Kingdom, might be useful. Even if it can't completely remove the curse, it should still be able to alleviate the damage caused by the curse. Therefore, he had volunteered to come. If I can't complete this mission, this old man won't have the face to go back. Ling Jiao Jiao, you must not touch her. Ling Xiao's expression suddenly became serious. What? Is this little guy related to that demon son? The Flame King asked curiously. That's right. She's my sister, my biological sister in this life. Ling Xiao said. It's not like we're going to kill her. We just want a little bit of the demon son's blood. Is there a need for you to be so nervous? The Flame King was puzzled. That won't do. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, If Senior Flame King trusts this junior, then leave this matter to this junior. When we return to the City of Gold, this junior will give you the blood of the true heart of the heavenly demon, not the blood of the demon son. If Senior Flame King doesn't trust this junior and insists on attacking my sister, then I'll apologize. Then I'm sorry. I'll definitely tell you Shangtian about this. How dare you? Do you believe that I won't kill you right now? The Flame King said angrily. Why wouldn't I dare? Senior Flame King seems to have forgotten the bet you lost to me. Now, I'll ask Senior Flame King to do something for me. Protect me until my strength reaches your level. Ling Xiao said with a smile. F***CK. You're so shameless. The Flame King was instantly stunned. F***CK. I've been tricked by this little bastard. He wanted to protect Ling Xiao, so he couldn't kill Ling Xiao. Moreover, if he protected Ling Xiao, then the two demon kings of the Yu family wouldn't be able to kill Ling Xiao. F***CK. I've fallen into a trap. 3 Xiao Shua Shuo. 3 cubed carat x carat O is worth collecting. Chapter 42:21. Fine, you're smart, kid. But I'll say this up front. If you're lying to me, I'll kill you even if I have to give up my dignity. I'll kill you too. The Flame Emperor stared viciously at Ling Xiao. Also, I don't know how long it'll take for you to reach my level. You have to give me a time limit. How about this? I'll protect you for 10 years. 10 years, to a cultivator like the Flame Emperor, was nothing more than the blink of an eye. He felt that Ling Xiao would need at least a few hundred years to reach his level. It might not even be possible in this lifetime. Didn't that mean that he would have to protect Ling Xiao for the rest of his life? That would be a huge loss. That was why he had suggested 10 years. But what he didn't know was how fast Ling Xiao's cultivation speed was. At his level, it would probably take him at most a year. So when he heard the Flame Emperor's words, Ling Xiao laughed. Are you sure it'll be 10 years? Of course. When have I ever gone back on my word? The Flame Emperor said through gritted teeth. Fine. 10 years it is. As long as you don't regret it. Come. Let's drink. Ling Xiao laughed inwardly. He had only hoped that the Flame Emperor would protect him for a year. Now, he had gotten 10 years of bodyguard for nothing. How could he not be happy? At the same time, at the headquarters of the Luo cult in Necropolis, in a spacious room, the leader of the Luo cult was looking at his disciple, Lu Ling. "Do you know why I brought you here?" "I don't know." Lu Ling shook his head. He really wanted to practice alchemy, but the leader of the Luo cult had dragged him here. To be honest, he wasn't too happy, but his master was his master. He didn't dare to disobey. "I want you to become the champion of this alchemy conference." The leader of the Luo cult went straight to the point. "Master, I want to become the champion too. That's why I want to practice. It won't be easy to defeat that bastard Ling Xiao." Lu Ling laughed bitterly. "Of course I know that." The leader of the Luo cult nodded. "Do you know what the final round is about?" "I'll tell you right now." "Great." Green Spirit knew that this was cheating, but he did not care as long as he could beat Ling Xiao. He was willing to do anything. Actually, there's nothing new about this last round. This was the ultimate test of an alchemist's alchemy skills. This is a test of your comprehensive ability. The head of the Luluwa cult explained, "When the time comes, the Yu family will provide a list of medicinal ingredients. You can choose any herbs you want." The rest was up to him. Including the pill furnace and pill recipe, it's all up to you. Coincidentally, I know this name list. Therefore, you can decide in advance what pill to refine tomorrow. Moreover, tonight it's enough to practice with only one type of pill. Hearing this, Green Spirit suddenly became excited. Even his breathing became rapid. You should understand that our Heavenly Fiend Ghost Regions pills are divided into 5 grades. The first level is for warriors below the Divine Core Realm. The second level can be used by 1st to 6th Divine Core Warriors. The third level is for warriors between the 6th and 9th Divine Core Realm. The fourth level is for warriors at the Shattered Core Realm. The Shattered Core Divine Water is a 4th level pill. The 5th level pill is for warriors at the Divine Physique Realm. Actually, this classification was applicable to all powers in the 4 regions and 9 worlds. Although it was not set by the government, all alchemists knew about it. If they left the 4 regions and 9 worlds and came to the Eternal Desert, the classification of pills would probably change again. Therefore, in the outside world, pills were only judged by their applicability. For example, this pill was suitable for Shattered Core Warriors. Naturally, its grade was much better than those pills that were suitable for Divine Core Warriors. With your skill, concocting a 3rd level pill shouldn't be a problem. At least, you should be able to succeed once out of 3 times. In the last round, everyone will get 3 sets of the same ingredients. This is to prevent any failures. But Master, I don't have a 3rd level pill recipe. Green Spirit furrowed his brows. Don't worry, this is what I want to tell you. If my guess is correct, that Dark Horse Alchemist, Yudan, and Ling Xiao all have 3rd level pill recipes. Therefore, if you want to win, an ordinary 3rd level pill recipe isn't enough. What you need is the best 3rd level pill recipe. Let me tell you this, the 3rd level pill recipe I have, once it is successfully concocted, its value won't be lower than an ordinary 4th level pill recipe. Of course, you'll need some special ingredients to concoct it, but you don't have to worry about this, I'll help you. While speaking, the sect leader took out a metal plate from his storage ring and handed it over to Green Spirit. When Green Spirit touched the metal plate, an expression of wild joy immediately emerged on his face. This is the 5 elemental body tempering pill. That's right, and it's a 3rd level 5 elemental body tempering pill. Even though it's only perfect at 50%, it can still allow a 9th Divine Core Warrior to possess the body strength of a peak 9th Order Emperor Realm Warrior. You should know this, ordinary warriors only train their cultivation, not their bodies. Therefore, it's extremely difficult for them to break through to the Shattered Core Realm. At this point, they will need pills. The 5 elemental body tempering pill was a common body tempering pill. Depending on ingredients and pill recipe, the grade of the pill would be different as well. If a third level 5 elemental body tempering pill could be concocted with 100% perfection, then if a ninth divine core warrior consumed it, he would possess the body strength of a shattered core realm warrior. The shattered core could be easily concocted and there were no side effects. The effect of the shattered core divine water was just SOO. But I don't have high expectations for you, other than Ling Xiao. That freak, even I am unable to refine a medicinal pill that reaches 100% perfection. You just need to make it perfect at 50% and above. Of course, the process is still extremely difficult. You need to control the flames with great precision. Even the slightest mistake will cause you to fail. But I believe in you. Also, I'll lend you my pill cauldron. It will increase your success rate by at least 50%. Thank you so much, Master. Green Spirit immediately knelt down. As an alchemist, he knew the value of this pill recipe very well. If this third level 5 elemental body tempering pill recipe was sold on the market, there would be countless people fighting for it. It would be worth at least 10,000 supreme rank soul stones. Probably not many people had so many supreme rank soul stones. Of course, he could also use a martial skill to exchange for it. The only martial skill he could use was a 9th grade Emperor martial skill. You don't have to thank me. Now, I'll teach you how to concoct it. The hierarch of the Green Vine cult had placed a huge bet on this. If Green Spirit lost as well, then he would have nowhere to put his old face. The ingredients required for a third level pill recipe were extremely precious. He didn't hesitate to use a huge amount of ingredients and asked Green Spirit to concoct the pill all night. Only when the sun was about to rise did Green Spirit take a short rest. Chapter 42:22. How do you feel, Green Spirit? Don't worry, Master. I've already mastered the method of refining the level 3-5 elements body strengthening pill. I won't disappoint you. I'm looking forward to today's finals. Green Spirit couldn't wait to start the final round. Then she would trample Ling Xiao under her feet. Let's go then. Today was the finals of the alchemy conference. There were even more spectators than the day before. Many people didn't sleep the entire night and came to line up outside Baoha Hall. They were here to watch the competition up close. Maybe it was because the competition yesterday was too exciting. Ling Xiao, you're here. You're much earlier than yesterday. Seeing Ling Xiao appear, Yu Dan hurried over. Everyone worshipped the strong, especially when someone made you admire them so much. You couldn't help but admire them. Yu Dan was completely immersed in Ling Xiao's charm. I'm here. Ling Xiao nodded at Yu Dan and then looked at the girl in green. Let's do our best together. Okay. The girl in green nodded excitedly. Although I definitely won't be the champion, I still want to test my potential. But Brother Ling, I have something to tell you. Last night, my master called eldest senior brother to practice for the entire night. This morning, eldest senior brother was very excited and confident. I don't know what happened. What are you afraid of? Kid, your opponent is me. Remember that? The Flame Emperor had also arrived at the arena at some point, shouting at Ling Xiao. Senior, don't underestimate that Green Spirit. What if she knew about today's assessment beforehand? What if she made preparations beforehand? Ling Xiao wasn't a fool. The Lu cult leader was one of the people in charge of this alchemy conference. If he wanted to open a back door, it would be as easy as playing a game. Moreover, no one would be able to find out. After hearing what the girl in green said, Green Spirit definitely knew something. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so confident. What could change overnight? She definitely had the confidence to win. It's useless. Trash is trash. He can't win. The Flame Emperor sneered. At this moment, the Green Spirit appeared. When he reached the group, he suddenly stopped and asked, Trash? I will let you know who is the winner today. Ling Xiao, compared to the two of them, you make me feel more excited. However, your good luck ends today. Today's winner will definitely be my green spirit. Be careful of being too arrogant and getting struck by lightning. If I remember correctly, you used to say the same thing every time you mocked me. Ling Xiao said disdainfully. It's different this time. Green Spirit smiled and walked to her seat. In the stands, Yu Xiangtian suddenly looked at the leader of Luo cult and said, How about it? Are you confident that Luo will win? Demon King Xiangtian also doesn't want Ling Xiao to win. The leader of the Green Vine cult was rather curious. Of course, Ling Xiao only needs to get second place. Otherwise, how am I going to control him if he gets first place? Yu Xiangtian laughed. Sigh, to be honest, I have already done my best. Whether we can win or not depends on Green Spirit's performance. If he can perform normally, he will definitely win. The leader of the Green Vine cult sighed and said confidently, Good, as long as you have confidence. Yu Xiangtian did not know alchemy, so even if he wanted to suppress Ling Xiao, he could only let the leader of the Green Vine cult do it. In any case, he believed in the ability of the leader of the Green Vine cult. Look, that's Ling Xiao. He's so young. He's not even 20 years old. That's right. I heard that he's only 18 years old and got first place in the first 2 rounds. He even received 30 million high-grade spirit stones as a reward. Not only that, in the Preservation of Peace Hall's preliminaries, he also suppressed Yudan and Green Spirit and got first place. He's too outstanding. Why don't we have such an outstanding child in our family? The previous results can only be used as a reference. I advise you not to have too much hope for him. The next round is the most important. It's a test of comprehensive skills. It's not something that can be passed with a bit of cleverness. Nonsense. Whose cleverness? If one can pass with cleverness, are you saying that the other contestants are all idiots? Stop arguing. Let's just wait for the results. Isn't the competition about to start? Everyone was discussing fervently. Some supported Ling Xiao, while others were against it. However, all of this had nothing to do with Ling Xiao. After returning to his seat, he sat down and closed his eyes to rest, because he believed that as long as he had something in his mind, he would not panic. No matter what the question was, no matter what the others prepared, he would win. Finally, the shopkeeper of the Preservation of Peace Hall stood up. I'll now announce the rules of the final round. Each of you can choose the herbs you need from the list of herbs. Then, you can use them to refine the pills you want. We'll provide the herbs, pills, pill furnaces, pill formulas. All of you have to think of your own ways. There's only one standard for the assessment, and that's the grade and perfection of the pills. Do you all understand? Ling Xiao looked at the people around him. Many people were dumbfounded when they heard the question. However, Lu Ling was very calm, and there was even a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that this fellow had known about this beforehand. That was why he was so calm. However, the Fire Emperor and Yu Dan did not seem to panic either. This showed that he was truly capable. No matter how you changed the assessment, you still knew it in your heart. All right, next, choose the herbs. There's a number button on your table, and each number corresponds to a herb. There's a total of 1,200 herbs. Choose by yourself. Don't worry about the number of herbs. 3 sets per person is more than enough. So don't panic. The shopkeeper of the Preservation of Peace Hall took in everyone's expressions. After all, there were only 100 people left, and it was much easier to observe. Ling Xiao was not in a hurry to choose the herbs. Instead, he looked at Lu Ling. He carefully observed every herb he chose. After Lu Ling finished choosing all the herbs, he could not help but exclaim, "It's actually a level 3-5 elements body-strengthening pill." This voice was heard by many people, including the Fire Emperor and Yu Dan. They all looked at Ling Xiao in shock. Yes, they were looking at Ling Xiao and not Lu Ling. The pill formula for the level 3 5 elements body strengthening pill was very rare. To be able to tell that someone was refining this kind of pill just by looking at the herbs, this was the most terrifying thing. This kid, it's simply indescribable as a monster. What the hell is he? The Lulua cult leader directly stood up from his chair. He guessed correctly? Yu Xiangtian frowned. It doesn't matter if he guessed correctly. The pill formula for the level 3 5 elements body strengthening pill is rare. It's impossible for ordinary people to have it. The difficulty of refining it is even greater. It also requires an extremely special pill furnace. It's not something that can be successfully refined with skill. The shopkeeper of the Preservation of Peace Hall sighed and said, "I'm afraid Ling Xiao is in trouble this time. Please remember the domain name of this book. Come read the mobile version of this book." Chapter 42-23. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall still liked Ling Xiao more. Of course, he wouldn't say it out loud. After all, he was a member of the Yu family. If the Yu family wanted to suppress Ling Xiao and prevent Ling Xiao from getting first place, he couldn't do anything about it. He could only sigh a few times in his heart. The alchemists began to nervously choose the medicinal herbs. Ling Xiao actually chose the same medicinal herbs as green spirit. This kid, what is he doing? Seeing this scene, everyone was a little stunned, especially the Lulua cult leader. Without the pill formula, even if the medicinal herbs are the same, it's impossible to refine the same thing. This kid is a mystery. No one can figure out what he's thinking until the end. Yu Xiangtian shook his head gently. It seemed that suppressing Ling Xiao might not be successful. Kid, do you also want to refine the third level 5 elements body tempering pill? This old man has to remind you. The third level 5 elements body tempering pill not only has a difference in perfection, but there are also differences in tempering the power of the 5 elements. One kind of power of the 5 elements is also called the 5 elements body tempering pill, but the effect is only 1/5. The 5 kinds of power of the 5 elements is also called the 5 elements body tempering pill, and the effect is 5 times that of the ordinary 5 elements body tempering pill. If this thing is used together with the broken core divine water, then the cultivator will not have any burden and can easily pass through the broken core realm. The difficulty can be imagined. I advise you to refine other pills, because if you can't master the 5 kinds of power of the 5 elements, the grade of the pill can't surpass this old man's 9 spirit while breaking pill. What Fire Emperor wanted to refine was also a 3rd level pill, although with his strength he could refine a 4th level pill or even a 5th level pill. However, the success rate was too low. The success rate of a 5th level pill was only 20%. The success rate of a 4th level pill was only 40%. Of course, the key was that the medicinal herbs this time were not enough to support him to refine a 4th level pill. So he chose the 9 spirit wall-breaking pill. Only the 5 kinds of power of the 5 elements, the 5 elements body tempering pill with a perfection of 90% and above, could suppress his 9 spirit wall-breaking pill. He believed that green spirit couldn't do it. He also believed that Ling Xiao couldn't do it. Although Ling Xiao had indeed given him too many surprises before, Ling Xiao had given him too many surprises. But after all, there were only 3 sets of herbs. Furthermore, the success rate of refining level 3 pills was not high, especially for alchemists like Ling Xiao and Lu Ling. The success rate of refining a 5 elements body quenching pill with the power of the 5 elements would not exceed 50%. What was he worried about? Taking a step back, if they really succeeded, the Flame Emperor would naturally admire them from the bottom of his heart, because this was something that even he didn't dare to challenge. Thank you, Senior, for your reminder. But how do you know that I want to refine a 5 elements body quenching dan? Ling Xiao smiled mysteriously. He turned around and began to calculate something on the draft paper. All right, I've finished selecting the herbs. Now I'll start refining the pills. Time limit, 6 hours. As long as the refinement was completed within 6 hours, there was no need to rush. However, I would like to remind you of one thing. If the quality of the pills produced by the alchemists were the same, then whoever could refine the pill faster would be the winner. Therefore, consider it in your own minds. Now, let the pill refining begin. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall gave the order. Lu Ling had already started refining pills. Last night, he had been doing the same thing all night and was already familiar with it. Therefore, there was no need to hesitate. Outside the small world, countless pairs of eyes were staring at the arena. Through the big screen, one could see every alchemist who was seriously refining pills. Would there still be a focused image? At this moment, the image was focused on Lu Ling's position, because he was the only one who had started. Skillful control skills, precise control of the flame, and that exquisite pill furnace. They all attracted the attention of many people. I didn't expect that the sect master would lend his pill furnace to Lu Ling. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall smiled bitterly. Of course, because even I have to admit that Ling Xiao is amazing. If Lu Ling wants to win this alchemy battle, I have to provide him with the best conditions. Otherwise, it'll be too difficult. The Lu sect master shook his head. This was a huge gamble. Not only the pill furnace, but Lu Ling had used up a lot of his herbs last night. Those were all his efforts. He hoped that Lu Ling would not disappoint him. Immediately after, Yudan also began to refine pills. The pill furnace that she took out also made everyone's eyes light up. It's actually a divine, heavenly king artifact pill furnace. It's the same level as my pill furnace, as expected of the Devil Emperor's disciple. The Lu sect master smiled bitterly. It seems that our Lu Ling is not the only one who is well prepared. This battle is not just between Ling Xiao and Lu Ling. In today's final assessment, it seems that anyone can win in the end. Everyone knew. Most alchemists couldn't do without a pill furnace. The quality of the pill furnace directly determined the success rate of refining pills. This was like a racetrack. Only the racer knew the value of a good car. Unless the car was of the same level, only then could the alchemist's skills be truly displayed. Otherwise, if you used an ox cart, you would never be able to surpass a Ferrari. Of course, there were exceptions. If you used pure fire to refine pills, the pill furnace wasn't that important. This was like a racer who ran faster than the car. Naturally, there was no need to use a car. The pill furnace that Lu Ling used was a divine, heavenly king artifact. And the flame that she used was a deviant fire. That was the gift that the Lu sect master gave to Lu Ling. With Lu Ling's standard, she couldn't control the deviant fire. The deviant fire immediately attracted the attention of many people. But when Ling Xiao's immortal fire burned, Lu Ling's deviant fire withered a little. It was as if a low-level martial artist had met a high-level martial artist. There was actually a look of worship. Actually, it wasn't just his flame. Everyone began to refine pills at almost the same time. Almost all the flames were worshipping Ling Xiao. It was as if they were cheering for him. Boom! Suddenly, a black flame was born from Fire King's hand. Immortal fire. That guy actually has an immortal fire. No wonder he's so confident. But who is this person? He actually has an immortal fire. The Lu sect master felt his hands sweating. He thought that he had leaked the topic in advance and had even made a lot of preparations. Lu Ling had a chance of winning, but now it seemed that it was really difficult. Yudan also used a deviant fire, which wasn't much. But Ling Xiao and that dark horse alchemist both used immortal fire. And that dark horse alchemist's pill furnace. It wasn't a heavenly king artifact, but an emperor artifact that was one level higher than a heavenly king artifact. A mortal emperor artifact. However, it was many levels higher than a divine heavenly king artifact. That guy looks like he's going to go all out. The shopkeeper of Baohahal smiled bitterly. We only thought that Ling Xiao and Lu Ling would fight, but we didn't expect that this person might be the opponent who can threaten Ling Xiao the most. Everyone's expression turned solemn. Please remember the domain name of this book. Read the mobile version of this book. Chapter 42:24. A mortal grade emperor weapon was a treasure that only the Demon King could possess. Could it be that this dark horse alchemist was actually a Demon King? Or an existence on the same level as the Demon King? That old man is crazy. Isn't he afraid of exposing his identity? Ancestor Scarlet Flame smiled bitterly. He has already entrusted his mission to young master. Therefore, the more attention he attracts, the safer young master will be. Your uncle is indeed worthy of being called the Fire King. He's really powerful. The Green Lotus swordswoman said very seriously. From what I see, he's just acting out of character. He's probably just showing off. He's not as noble as you say. Ancestor Scarlet Flame shook his head. He looked at Ling Xiao. At this moment, Ling Xiao had already begun to refine the medicinal herbs. He was still using the immortal fire from before. However, he did not use the pill furnace. It seemed that in order to make up for the disadvantage of the pill furnace, this guy still planned to use pure fire to refine pills. Yu Dan and Green Spirit were also extremely depressed by the Fire King's immortal fire. They almost made a mistake in controlling the flame in their hands. Thus, they hurriedly stopped refining, until the flame gradually returned to normal. Only then did they let out a long sigh of relief. What's there to show off for? What's so great about immortal fire? Refining pills is not just about flames. Whether it's the flame or the pill furnace, they are all external forces. What really matters is the alchemist's skills and pill formulas. Just you wait. I will definitely win. A small blow was not enough to make Green Spirit give up hope. Yudan was naturally the same. After all, she was the disciple of the Demon Emperor. She would not admit defeat so easily. Even if she knew that she was going to lose, she had to do her best. Ling Xiao ignored the opinions of others. He also ignored the discussions of those people. What he was going to do today was actually very risky. He did not plan to refine the 5 elements body tempering pill. This was because the same medicinal herbs could be added with different vital essence and use different refining methods. It could be turned into different pills. He wanted to transform the 5 elements body tempering pill. It was modified into a more powerful pill. In any case, he did not feel too much pressure in this alchemy conference. Therefore, it was nothing to be arrogant. It was just that without a pill formula, he had to transform a level 3 pill. The difficulty could be imagined. Everything had to start all over again. This first time, he would treat it as an experiment. According to the steps, he used pure fire to refine it. He precisely controlled the temperature to extract the essence of the herbs. Then he placed it in a glass bottle that he had prepared beforehand, although his thoughts were very clear. Moreover, he already had a clear idea of what to do. However, he still didn't dare to be careless. Sometimes, thinking about it was one thing, but doing it was another. Even if it was his first experiment, he didn't want to fail. After all, there were only 3 sets of materials, although it was more than yesterday's 2 rounds of assessment. But today, the difficulty had increased exponentially. Actually, it wasn't just him. Everyone else was the same. When extracting the essence of medicinal herbs and refining them, he was very careful. One medicinal herb after another entered his hands. These medicinal herbs came in sets. Once a medicinal ingredient was destroyed, the entire set of medicinal ingredients would be destroyed as well. No one could afford that kind of risk. Without an engine, it would not be called a car. Without a gearbox, it could not be considered a complete car. The tires and the outer shell were all like that. Not a single one of them could be missing. Once there was less, it would be useless. The rest of the components were basically scrapped. Silence. It was very quiet. There was only the sound of the flames burning and the sound of everyone quietly extracting the essence of medicine. The shouts and discussions of the audience had basically disappeared. Even if there were still some whispers, they also lowered their voices. Some of them even used soul transmissions to communicate with each other. Damn it! Suddenly, someone roared. Obviously, the extraction of the medicinal herbs had failed. This was equivalent to one less chance. However, he was so loud that it didn't affect the others. At this time, no one dared to be distracted. Once they were distracted, they might also fail. Time passed by minute. Ling Xiao's refining process was very smooth, and his speed gradually increased. When he finished refining all the medicinal herbs, he turned his head to look to the side. Yu Dan and Green Spirit were not done yet. Needless to say, Green Spirit, the elixir that was refined was the 5 elements body strengthening pill, and it was a level 3 5 elements body strengthening pill. It was very difficult. It was normal for him to be so careful. The level of the elixir refined by Yu Dan was probably not bad. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so slow. As for Fire King, needless to say, the 9-spirit wall-breaking pill was one of the top-level elixirs. Naturally, he was careful. Sigh. At this moment, a sigh was heard. Finally, someone was teleported out of the small world. He had failed to refine the medicinal herbs consecutively. He was probably too nervous. He hadn't reached the fusion stage yet and had already wasted all the medicinal herbs. This was really a sad thing. Ling Xiao shook his head lightly. Other people's matters had nothing to do with him. Next, he was going to do something that none of the alchemists had ever done before. Perhaps the ancestors of the alchemists had done it before. That was to create their own pill formulas. And it was in such an assessment, although he was a little confident. But he knew very well how difficult it was. A total of 16 medicinal herbs were extracted from the glass bottle by his vital essence. Then, he began to condense them with the immortal fire. Every moment, the Taiji I was carefully observing. Even if there was a slight problem, he could adjust in time. But he just couldn't be sure if he was trying to cross the river by feeling the stones. There would always be a time when he missed a step. His fusion process was truly incomparably thrilling. When he had already begun to fuse, Fire King, Green Spirit, and Yu Dan had already finished extracting the medicinal herbs. Then, they poured the extracted essence into the furnace. They began to refine. The extraction was very important, but the fusion process was even more important. After all, it wasn't an easy job to fuse a group of little fellows with their own personalities. Boom! With a loud bang, a person suddenly punched the alchemy platform. He failed and didn't care about others at all. This kind of person was disgusting. Get out. I'll remind everyone again. If anyone fails in refining, they will be punished. If you fail and affect others, don't blame me for being merciless. The shopkeeper of Bahahal was angry. This was an expert at the 8th level of the Shattered Core Realm, second only to you, Killian. He really couldn't tolerate this kind of thing. With a voice like his, he could not help but laugh. The people who failed next weren't so ostentatious. At most, they sighed and resigned themselves to their fate to be teleported away. Although everyone had unwillingness on their faces. There were even tears on some people's faces. But this was the cruelty of the alchemy conference. You wasted 3 batches of medicinal herbs and still couldn't succeed. You couldn't blame others. Some people's skills are good, but they are too greedy. They can only refine level 2 pills with their skills. But they insist on trying to refine level 3 pills. In the end, it's easy to fail completely. The Lulua cult leader shook his head. There's nothing they can do about it. After all, only the top 3 can be recruited by the Yu family. If they want to win, they have to take risks. Otherwise, how can they defeat Ling Xiao and the others? Yu Xiangtian laughed. He liked this kind of competition very much. 3 Little Talk Network. Superscript 1. 3 cubed carat x carat m is worth collecting. Chapter 42:25. The arena was very big, but there were very few people. The examination room that could accommodate 100,000 people before was now left with less than 100 people, and the number of people was still decreasing. The alchemists came here with a dream, but there was always a moment of clarity in the dream. Reality was not as simple as imagined. Great waves washed away the sand. The black tortoise continent was like this. The small alchemy conference was also like this. If it didn't work, they would be eliminated. As time continued, many alchemists' faces turned pale. In order to forcibly refine high-quality pills, many alchemists were overloaded. Bang! Finally, someone fainted. Although the refining process was very smooth, the person couldn't hold on any longer. This was definitely not going to work. Alchemists had very high requirements for their physical fitness. Which one of you can tell me what kind of pill Ling Xiao is refining? Yu Xiangtian had been staring at Ling Xiao, but he couldn't see why, so he couldn't help but ask. The people he asked were naturally the shopkeeper of Baohe Hall and the leader of Luluo cult. In the audience, these two had a better understanding of alchemy. I can't tell. The shopkeeper of Baohe Hall shook his head and said, I originally thought he was going to refine the 3rd level 5 elements body quenching pill, but now it seems that it's not the case. But the herbs are the same? Yu Xiangtian asked again. The herbs are the same, but the refining method is different. The true essence used is different, and the flames are different. The number of ingredients is different, which will directly lead to changes in the pill. Especially true essence, different true essence may even cause a qualitative change in the pill. The leader of Luluo cult explained. Then we can only wait for the results? Yu Xiangtian smiled bitterly. Yes, we can only wait for the results. However, once a 3rd level pill is refined, there will be a special phenomenon. You will know in a while. The shopkeeper of Baohe Hall said. Yu Xiangtian nodded. Sure enough, laymen could only watch the show. At this moment, the shopkeeper of Baohe Hall suddenly became excited. Ling Xiao seems to be about to form the pill. Hearing this, everyone looked in the direction of Ling Xiao. There was a burst of strange fragrance. There was even a golden light shining above Ling Xiao's head. That was the sign of a level 3 pill taking shape. So fast! He was clearly the last to start refining pills, but he was the fastest to complete the pill. And it's actually a level 3 medicinal pill. The leader of the Green Vine cult felt a wave of nervousness. Was his disciple going to lose again? Even they were so surprised, not to mention Yu Dan and Lu Ling who were near Ling Xiao. The two of them were in the middle of concocting pills, so they didn't dare to look. However, they could smell the fragrance of the pills. He couldn't help but feel a little surprised. However, apart from being surprised, he was also rejoicing. The pill that Ling Xiao refined was indeed a level 3 pill. However, there were only 3 golden lights above his head. This meant that the pill had just reached level 3. Furthermore, this fragrance was not as strong as the 5 elements body-tempering elixir that Lu Ling had refined last night. As long as I succeed, I will definitely win. Green Spirit snorted coldly, took a deep breath, and focused even more. He believed that as long as his medicinal pill was successfully refined, he would not lose to Ling Xiao. Yu Dan, on the other hand, felt somewhat disappointed. According to Ling Xiao's strength, it shouldn't be at this level. Elder Hua, who was behind, also smiled slightly, thinking in his heart, Kid, if you're only at this level, then you're going to lose. Of course, other than them, the other alchemists were very envious. To be able to refine a level 3 pill in such a short time. The might of Ling Xiao's pill refining skills simply made people astounded. However, next, Ling Xiao did something that shocked them even more. They saw Ling Xiao carefully observe the pill in his hand for a moment. Then he shook his head. He directly stuffed it into his mouth and ate it like a candy. He ate it. What is he doing? Yu Xiangtian was also stunned. Yeah, I don't know either. That's a level 3 pill. The success rate of refining is very low. It wasn't easy to succeed, but he actually ate it himself? The leader of the Green Vine cult was also stunned. Maybe the shopkeeper of the Bauha Hall thought of a possibility, but he still felt that it was somewhat inconceivable. Maybe what? Maybe he's preparing to create a new type of medicinal pill, using the 5 elements body tempering pill as a model. The first medicinal pill was just a test product. The reason why he ate it should be to use his own body to understand the problem of this medicinal pill. The shopkeeper of the Bauha Hall explained. Madman, this is an assessment. If it's any other time, it's understandable to do this. But here, there are only 3 chances. Yu Qiren said in surprise, whether it's a madman or a madman. In short, Ling Xiao ate the medicinal pill. At that moment, he felt a powerful force surge out of his body. Good stuff. Although it's a failure, it's still very helpful for the tempering of my physical body. The heavenly demon black tortoise body is about to break through again. Anyway, these medicinal herbs were free. Of course, he had to make good use of them. You're crazy. Since you're crazy, then leave this championship to me. Green Spirit practiced so hard last night. It's time to harvest something today. Our Green Vine cult is the best alchemy sect in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. Green Spirit glanced at Ling Xiao. Her shock turned to excitement. Ling Xiao ate the medicinal pill, which was equivalent to losing a chance. With 2 more chances left, the chances of success would be even lower. It was time for her to hold her head high. What a man with high expectations for himself. He's not even satisfied with such a medicinal pill. Yu Dan admired Ling Xiao even more. But what are you going to do next? This isn't a pill refining lab. You only have 3 chances to refine pills. Are you sure you can refine what you want? The Flame Emperor was also stunned by Ling Xiao's actions. Good boy, you actually dared to do this. No wonder you've achieved so much. But you're being a little too impulsive. You should have kept the medicinal pill. At least if you failed the next 2 times, you'd have a chance to save yourself. The Flame Emperor shook his head and continued refining. I'm afraid you're going to lose this bet. The nervousness and anxiety of others turned into indifference and disdain when it came to Ling Xiao. He didn't seem to care about this failure at all. He chewed the medicinal pill in his mouth. He began to extract it again, step by step, but the speed was much faster than the first time. Don't be rash. There's still a long time. Don't be rash. The shopkeeper of the Bauha Hall cheered for Ling Xiao in his heart. He really didn't want Ling Xiao to fall just like that. If Ling Xiao heard these people's thoughts, what kind of expression would he have? Was it necessary? He was just a test subject. When he extracted the medicinal ingredients for the second time, someone finally refined a level 3 medicinal pill. This medicinal fragrance didn't come from Yu Dan, nor did it come from Green Spirit. It also didn't come from the Flame Emperor. It actually came from the green-clothed woman. 3, Xiaoshua Xiaoshua. Superscript 1. 3 cubed carat x carat m is worth collecting. Chapter 42:26. Although the woman in Green's pill was about the same as the one that Ling Xiao had eaten, she had just stepped into the threshold of level 3. But for a level 2 alchemist, this was already extremely difficult. After a while, suddenly, a poo sound came from Green Spirit's side. The fusion failed. Damn it, just a little bit more. Green Spirit's expression was somewhat ugly. As expected, the difficulty of refining the 5 elements body tempering pill was too high. Don't panic, let's do it again. The leader of the Lu sect secretly transmitted his voice. Green Spirit nodded and began to refine the pill again. When the time entered the third hour, a rich medicinal fragrance wafted through the entire arena. At the same time, 3 golden lights and 6 red lights flickered above Dan's head. This meant that the pill she had refined was also a level 3 pill. However, the quality was much better than the pills refined by Ling Xiao and the woman in green. 10 red lights were equivalent to 1 golden light. This girl's pill was already very close to level 4. Amazing, she actually succeeded in refining it on her first try. Everyone could not help but exclaim. This made Dan's pretty face a little more proud. Refining a level 3 pill was not easy. For her, she was only 60 to 70% confident. She did not expect her luck to be so good that she actually succeeded on her first try. This could be considered her best performance in this alchemy convention. However, Dan's happiness did not last long. Soon, another exclamation was heard. This time, the one who succeeded in refining the pill was old Demon Han. People discovered that there were 3 golden lights and 7 red lights above old Demon Han's head. In terms of the quality of the pill, old Demon Han actually won by a level. This made Dan frown slightly. Old mister, you've really hidden your strength well. Old Demon Han was not particularly outstanding in the previous assessment. However, he was still ranked at the top. However, no one took him too seriously. They all felt that he could not compare to Dan, Green Spirit, and the others. I'm sorry, Miss Dan. I'm slightly better. Old Demon Han finally revealed his proud smile. All along he had been very low-key. He had never shown his strong and proud side in front of others. Now he could be arrogant for a while. Hearing that everyone else had succeeded in refining pills, Green Spirit's heart was unable to calm down. In his panic, he actually made a mistake while extracting the medicinal herbs. Another failure. Damn it! Green Spirit's hands began to tremble. He felt like he couldn't take it anymore. Green Spirit, don't forget your hard work last night. What you need to do today is to demonstrate what you learned last night. I didn't give you the deviant flame for you to be dispirited. There was still plenty of time, so there was no need to be so nervous. So what if someone else succeeded? As long as the quality of your medicinal pills is higher than theirs, wouldn't it be fine? Every word from the leader of the Green Vine cult made Green Spirit feel extremely ashamed. He took a deep breath and isolated himself from the outside world. He began to focus on refining pills. At this time, Ling Zhao's second medicinal pill had been successfully refined. Boom! 3 golden lights and 7 red lights. Amazing! Everyone was astonished. Sure enough, Ling Xiao dared to eat the first pill because he was really confident. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't dare to do so. Ha ha ha, I knew he could do it. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall laughed. But he took longer than old Demon Han, and he only succeeded after 2 tries. If we compare, he's still not as good as old Demon Han. Xiangtian frowned. That's true. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall laughed bitterly. But this kid is really amazing. He modified the medicinal pills on the spot. And he actually succeeded twice in refining pills. And his speed is so fast. Others haven't completed it once, but he's done it twice. He's really a genius. What a pity. Yeah, what a pity. Because today's champion will be me. Suddenly, Fire Emperor laughed loudly. Everyone looked over and saw that Fire Emperor's medicinal pill had basically taken shape. Above his head, there were 3 golden lights and 9 red lights. Just one more, and he would be able to refine a level 4 medicinal pill. Using the medicinal herbs provided to refine such a medicinal pill, Fire Emperor's alchemy skills. No one could compare to him. He's the real champion. Old Demon Han looked at Fire Emperor and shook his head with a bitter smile. He thought that he was about to succeed after all the hardships. He didn't expect it to be such a result. Sigh helpless. Boom! Green Spirit's side was in an uproar. When he heard that there were 3 golden lights and 9 red lights in the pills refined by the Flame Emperor, he was shocked. He knew that he was done for. No matter how stable his state of mind was, it was gone. Another failure, and his entire body went limp on the ground. Despair covered his face. We all lost, Sai. Lost? I don't think so. Compared to Green Spirit's despair, Ling Xiao's face was filled with a strong fighting spirit. Yo, Senior, your alchemy speed is really fast. You only used a little more than 3 hours to complete a difficult medicinal pill like the 9-spirit wall-breaking pill. Sai, if it weren't for me, this championship would have been taken away by you. However, with me here, this championship naturally won't fall to anyone else. Just when everyone thought that Fire Emperor would definitely win the championship, only one person objected. That person was Ling Xiao. Kid, you lost the bet. Don't go back on your words. Fire Emperor laughed. Did I say I'm going to go back on my words? Don't forget, I still have one more chance. Ling Xiao chuckled. After saying that, he swallowed the second pill once again. What the fuck? The camera was pointed at Ling Xiao. Everyone felt as if 10,000 alpacas were galloping through their hearts. A pill that others couldn't concoct, even if they tried their best. He actually ate it again. Boom! At this moment, Ling Xiao could feel that his body's strength had broken through. His demonic black martial body had unknowingly reached the peak of 8th Order Emperor realm. From now on, even if he fought one-on-one, he wouldn't need the help of the giant demon. He wouldn't be afraid of a peak 8th Heavenly Core warrior. There are so many benefits to concocting pills. Ling Xiao laughed. Kid, what are you laughing about? Look at the time, there's only half of the time left. Are you sure you can successfully concoct the next pill? Fire Emperor angrily said. Of course I'm sure, didn't Senior notice? My success rate in concocting pills has always been 100%. Have any of you seen me fail in concocting pills? Unless I want to fail, otherwise, I will always succeed on my first try. Ling Xiao laughed. You're still laughing? Look at how arrogant you are. Fine, let's take a step back. Even if you can successfully concoct the pill. At most, you can only concoct a 3rd-grade pill with 3 golden lights and 9 red lights. You won't be able to surpass me, since you've lost in terms of time. Fire Emperor really didn't know where Ling Xiao got his confidence from. Oh, about that, it doesn't matter. I didn't say I was going to concoct a 3rd-grade pill. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile on his face. After that, he focused on extracting the ingredients. What did he just say? He said he wasn't going to concoct a 3rd-grade pill. Yu Xiangtian thought he heard wrong. Please remember the domain name of this book. Let's all read it on mobile. Chapter 42, 27. If it's not a level 3 elixir, could it be a level 4 elixir? The leader of Lulua cult shook his head gently and said, in theory, it's impossible to refine a level 4 elixir with the herbs provided this time. I think so too. I don't know what Ling Xiao is thinking. This guy has always been unpredictable. Let's just wait and see. Maybe he can really create a miracle. The shopkeeper of Baohahal was obviously confused by Ling Xiao's words. Only the Fire Emperor's mouth twitched fiercely. His level was higher than the leader of Lulu cult and the shopkeeper of Baohahal. So he knew that the herbs provided this time might be able to refine a level 4 elixir. But with his level, the success rate would not be more than 20%. So he didn't do it, because it was really too difficult. Ling Xiao, this brat really dared to do it. Kid, it's not that I look down on you, but if you plan to refine a level 4 elixir from the beginning, you really shouldn't have wasted the first 2 opportunities. You still have to learn to act according to your ability. People who overestimate themselves generally don't have a good ending. The Fire Emperor said with a smile. Then you just wait and see the result. Ling Xiao smiled slightly. No longer talking. He washed the glass bottle clean. Then he began the third refining. At this time, all the alchemists present had either been eliminated, or they had finished refining. All eyes were on Ling Xiao. Did this young man who made such bold claims have the strength to match his arrogance? Everyone was waiting to see. Ling Xiao acted as if nothing had happened. He still began to extract the herbs. With the previous 2 training sessions, this third time not only was his speed faster, but his movements were also more skillful. It was as if he could do it at his fingertips. There was no lag at all. Whether he can succeed or not, just this exquisite technique is enough to be admired. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall sighed with emotion. I'm afraid that his control of the immortal fire will cause his vital essence and soul force to be unable to keep up. He has already wasted it twice before. This time the immortal fire won't stop halfway, right? The leader of Lulua cult said. However, before he finished speaking, the other side, however, burst into flames with a loud bang. Ling Xiao's body burned with white immortal fire. He looked like a fire elemental. This magnificent flame gradually flowed into his hands. Previously, Ling Xiao had only been refining pills with one hand, but this time he actually began to refine pills with both hands. Both of his hands were burning with immortal flames. The strangest thing was that the immortal fire had 2 different colors. His left hand was black and his right hand was white. One exuded a holy aura, while the other exuded an evil aura. Everyone was dumbfounded by what they saw. Why do I feel like this brat is deliberately slapping my face? The leader of the Green Vine cult laughed bitterly. After the failure of the Green Spirit, he no longer had anything left to fight with Ling Xiao. So now his hostility towards Ling Xiao was not as obvious as before. No, he must be doing this because he needs the medicinal pills. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall smiled and shook his head, but I have to admit it, this kid was really amazing. He's actually able to control 2 types of immortal flames at the same time with such proficiency. This guy, the Fire Emperor, was also stunned. Ling Xiao was even more outstanding than he had imagined. His desire to take in a disciple was also becoming more and more urgent. As for winning or losing, he still believed that he could win. Controlling 2 types of immortal flames at the same time meant that they were still immortal flames in essence. There wouldn't be much of a change. In just 3 minutes, the refinement was over. This was much, much faster than before. The Fire Emperor couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. At this moment, no one said a word. It was as if they couldn't bear to interrupt this thrilling scene. It was as if they were worried that their voices would cause them to miss the most exciting process. It's starting to fuse the pills. I wonder what kind of pills will appear this time. Everyone was looking forward to it, including the Fire Emperor. If someone could really surpass him, he would really have to admire them. After all, there was never an end to alchemy. Half an hour later, the embryonic form of the pill could be seen. Fragrance filled the air. Above Ling Xiao's head, 3 golden lights and 4 red lights had already appeared. And this was only the embryonic form. If this pill was in the pill furnace, others would definitely not be able to see it. At this moment, everyone could see it clearly. The pill was still in a viscous state and had not solidified. It was only the embryonic form, but it already had such a powerful quality. If the refinement was successful, what would happen? The Fire Emperor even forgot that he was competing with Ling Xiao. At this moment, he was staring fixedly at Ling Xiao's every move. He was watching very carefully. The pill spun in the middle of the black and white flames. It was constantly condensing, but it was still unable to solidify. However, at this moment, the light above Ling Xiao's head had already turned into 3 golden lights and 8 red lights. Heavens! Even though he hasn't completed the pill, he's already surpassed me. This guy is indeed powerful. Old Demon Han shook his head and smiled bitterly. No wonder Ling Xiao was confident that he could refine pills again. This guy was really powerful. This is too shocking. Yu Dan felt that she no longer had any adjectives to describe her excitement at this moment. Ling Xiao had done something that no one here could do. Maybe he can really succeed? The Fire Emperor was not very confident. What kind of pill is he refining? Yu Xiangtian could also sense the energy contained in the pill and could not help but ask. I don't know. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall and the leader of Luluo cult shook their heads. If you want to know, I'm afraid you'll have to wait until the end. But now, this kid has encountered a problem. The leader of Luluo cult said. What problem? Yu Xiangtian asked curiously. If he relies on immortal fire alone to solidify this pill, it will take at least 4 hours. In other words, he doesn't have enough time. If the herbs are too poor, it will take a long time to refine a level 4 pill. But he can't afford to wait. The leader of Luluo cult replied. Then in that case he's going to lose? Yu Qiren asked. I'm not sure either. Since he chose this step, he should have his own ideas. The leader of Luluo cult was also very curious now. What was Ling Xiao going to do? It seems that the immortal fire is not enough. Then I can only use my trump card. Boom! Suddenly, the temperature of the small world rose. In Ling Xiao's left hand, the white flame gradually had a yellow glow. What is that? The leader of Luluo cult stood up. Divine fire! That's actually the divine fire, Crimson Sun Flame. The Fire Emperor was dumbfounded. He could not believe that this was real. Something like divine fire was too precious. Except for the Tianlong continent, it was almost impossible to see it in the other continents. It was extremely difficult to control it, unless you had a martial soul derived from it. Otherwise, if you touched the divine fire, you would instantly turn to ashes. And Ling Xiao actually had a divine fire. As the Fire Emperor, he could not believe this. Please remember the domain name of this book. Read the mobile version of this book. Chapter 42-28. The Fire Emperor had searched the entire 4 major regions, except for the Eternal Desert. He had never seen anyone who could use divine fire to refine pills. Divine fire was also called sacred fire in some places, but no matter what the name was, there were only 12 types of divine fire. Unlike immortal fire, although rare, they didn't have a fixed name. Crimson Sun Flame. It really is the Crimson Sun Flame. No wonder this guy is so calm. If he has divine fire, refining level 4 pills shouldn't be a problem. But the pills he's refining are obviously of yin and yang attributes. I'm afraid one type of divine fire won't do. The Luluo cult leader frowned. At this moment, as if to answer him, in Ling Xiao's other hand, the black flame suddenly became cold and sinister. It also turned dark blue. Another type of divine fire, cold extreme yin flame. The Crimson Sun Flame and Cold Extreme Yin Flame were both brought by Ling Xiao from the Heavenly Dragon Continent. In addition to these 2 types of flames, he also had the Civil and Martial Sacred Fire, Death Dark Flame, and Samadhi True Fire. But there was no need to show off in this pill refinement. Just 2 types of flames were enough. The Crimson Sun Flame and Cold Extreme Yin Flame fused together to refine pills. The speed at which the pills solidified kept increasing. In just an instant, the light above Ling Xiao's head turned into 3 golden lights and 9 red lights. What a powerful kid. He's actually reached this level. It seems that we've all underestimated him. Yes, he actually has 2 types of divine fire. It's really unbelievable. Boom! Once again, a huge rumbling sound rang out. Everyone was surprised to see 4 golden lights shining above Ling Xiao's head. It's done! The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall shouted excitedly. Level 4 pills. Oh my god, he actually managed to refine a level 4 medicinal pill. It's like a dream. The Fire Emperor was dumbfounded at that moment. After a long while, he shook his head and smiled bitterly. He directly sat there. He lost. He lost again. although he didn't know what kind of pill Ling Xiao was refining. However, a level 4 medicinal pill was better than his 9-spirit wall-breaking pill. There was no doubt about that. Ling Xiao, oh Ling Xiao, what kind of monster are you? Today I've seen it for myself. When the light above Ling Xiao's head turned into 4 golden lights and 3 red lights, he had finally reached his limit. The sound filled the entire small world. Ling Xiao also retracted his flames. He placed the pill into a jade box. Some pills were suitable for jade boxes. However, some pills were not suitable. Ling Xiao liked jade very much. What a confident young man. He had successfully concocted 2 pills in a row, but he had destroyed the nearly perfect pills. He had to refine it again. I didn't expect that he would actually refine such an outstanding pill. Yu Dan looked at Ling Xiao with a strong sense of worship. It could be said that after her master, Ling Xiao was the person she admired the most. Perhaps her master, the Devil Emperor, was much stronger than Ling Xiao. But in terms of alchemy, Ling Xiao's level was something that her master could never catch up to. Concocting pills with divine flame, and it was a pure flame, he didn't even use a cauldron. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed it. He's so much better than me. I've been boasting in front of him all this time. This is ridiculous. Outside the small world, Green Spirit looked at Ling Xiao. He felt like a huge mountain was pressing down on him. It made him feel like he couldn't breathe. His opponent was too strong. He was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Divine flame, I didn't expect this. Not only does he have a divine flame, he even has 2. This young man is so scary. The Fire King had given up on resisting, although his pill was one of the best amongst all 3rd-grade pills, but it was still nothing compared to a 4th-grade pill. Ling Xiao, can you tell me what kind of pill you concocted? What are its effects? The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall asked. This pill is called the Yin-Yang Harmony Pill. As everyone knows, a divine core warrior wants to break his core without suffering any harm. Therefore, the yin and yang must be balanced. Once the yin and yang are out of balance, the core breaking process will fail. This is the biggest obstacle for a divine core warrior to break through to the core shattering realm. The yin-yang harmony pill is much safer and more peaceful than the core shattering divine water. Of course, the core shattering divine water can still be used after breaking through to the core shattering realm. The yin-yang harmony pill is more suitable for a 9th level divine core warrior to break through to the core shattering realm. Ling Xiao explained. Yin-yang harmony pill? I think I've read about this pill in some ancient books. The sect leader of the Green Radish cult suddenly said, That's right. The immemorial divine pill scripture states that the yin-yang harmony pill was concocted by many alchemists 60,000 years ago, but the recipe was lost. This time, Junior created it based on the effects of the yin-yang harmony pill I read about in the ancient books. Its effects are exactly the same as described in the immemorial divine pill scripture. Ling Xiao nodded his head and said, Immemorial divine pill scripture? How come you've read that book? Isn't that a supreme treasure that only alchemists from the immortal court can read? The Fire King couldn't help but ask. Please forgive Junior for not telling you. It's a secret. Ling Xiao said with a smile on his face. He was pretending to be mysterious because he wanted to mislead others into thinking that he had an even more powerful backer behind him. If that was the case, if those mighty warriors wanted to attack him, they would have to consider the person behind him first. It would make him safer. I'm being a little rude. The Fire King smiled and didn't say anything else. The shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall said with a smile, If that's the case, I don't think anyone has any objections about the champion. The yin-yang harmony pill, concocted by Ling Xiao, is a 4th-grade pill. He deserves to be the champion. Hold on. Suddenly, Yu Shangtian stood up and said with a smile on his face, in order to make everyone feel that it's fair, why don't we have a more detailed evaluation of the top 3 pills? Patriarch you don't believe in the pills I concocted? Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. No one objected, but this Yu Xiangtian did. Obviously, he didn't want Jiang Chen to be the champion. It's not that I don't believe you. I just want everyone to feel that it's fair. Yu Xiangtian's answer was dignified. Oh, then I'd like to know, how are you going to judge? After all, among the people present, no one is stronger than me in terms of alchemy skills, and no one can refine the yin-yang harmony pill. Ling Xiao sneered. Yu Xiangtian was a little embarrassed. He really didn't think about this matter. He just didn't want Ling Xiao to get first place, so he subconsciously shouted it out. But now it was a little troublesome, although there were people present who could refine fourth-grade pills. But whether it was the success rate or speed, they couldn't compare to Ling Xiao. Could it be that people who were not as good as Ling Xiao were going to check Ling Xiao's pills? Wasn't that equivalent to asking primary school students to check college students last night? It would become a joke. How about this? I have a proposal, Ling Xiao said with a smile. In this matter, he was too lazy to continue to argue with Yu Xiangtian. Anyway, his pills were real, and real gold was not afraid of fire. If the other party wanted fairness, then he would give him fairness. What proposal? Yu Xiangtian asked curiously. 3 little schwa network. Superscript 1. 3 cubed carat x carat m is worth collecting. Chapter 42:29. In the end, whether a pill is good or not depends on its effect. If someone eats my yin-yang harmony pill, he will be able to break through from the 9th level of the divine core realm to the shattered core realm. Does that mean my pill is a 4th level pill? Ling Xiao looked at Yu Xiangtian and said with a smile, although the ingredients for the yin-yang harmony pill were precious, if one wanted to find them, they could be found easily. Also, compared to ordinary 4th level pills, the ingredients for this pill were much easier to find. If Ling Xiao wanted to use it, he could just concoct another pill in the future. This pill wasn't the final product. It was just that all the ingredients for the test had been used up, and it couldn't be improved any further. If someone was lucky enough to eat this pill, then they would be in luck. That's a good suggestion. Before Yu Xiangtian could say anything, the Fire King said with a smile, only a 4th level pill can achieve such an effect. No one would be dissatisfied with that. Even Xiangtian Devil King, who doesn't know anything about pills, will agree, right? Yu Xiangtian was startled. He didn't know why the Fire King was helping Ling Xiao. But Ling Xiao's suggestion was the best one he could think of. Even he couldn't reject it. All right. Yu Xiangtian had no choice but to agree. In his opinion, there were very few people in the audience who were at the 9th level of the divine core realm. Who wants to try the effect of this pill? Ling Xiao raised the pill and asked with a smile on his face. Right now, not only the warriors in the audience, even the audience in front of the screen could hear his voice and see what was happening. Those from the Yu family could be said to be the first to enjoy the benefits. Besides, the Yu family had the most warriors at the 9th level of the divine core realm. When they heard Ling Xiao's suggestion, all of them wanted to try it. But Yu Xiangtian's attitude made them feel helpless. Obviously, even an idiot could tell that Yu Xiangtian didn't want Ling Xiao to be the champion. If no one stepped forward to try the pill, then no one would be able to prove the effect of Ling Xiao's pill. The champion would be given to whoever Yu Xiangtian wanted. They could only watch with drool dripping from their mouths, but they couldn't participate. Time passed by slowly. Ling Xiao, I think we should just give up. This time, the champion should be given to that gentleman. After all, your pills are brand new, so it's hard to confirm the effects. If you're crowned as the champion, I'm afraid others won't be convinced. After a full 20 minutes, Yu Xiangtian said. He wanted the Flame King to become the champion. Let the Flame Emperor suppress Ling Xiao. In this way, he would have the upper hand in the negotiation with Ling Xiao. I think so too. Although your elixir pill has the phenomenon of a level 4 elixir pill, it's still very rare. However, no one could say for sure how effective it would be. Even if you say that this pill of yours is inferior to a tier 2 pill, it's still fine. The leader of the Green Vine cult could tell what Yu Xiangtian was thinking. Haha, no one wants such a good pill. Fortunately, I came in time. Suddenly, a voice came from the entrance. A travel-worn person rushed over. You've finally come. This is a big gift for you. You owe me a favor. Looking at the newcomer, Ling Xiao smiled faintly and shot out a medicinal pill. It was caught by that person. Ghost Sword. That's the Devil Sovereign's disciple, Ghost Sword. That's right. I heard he broke through to the 9th Divine Core Realm during the battle in the Fengdu Devil Forest. He can use this Yin-Yang Harmony pill. Senior disciple. Yu Dan looked at Ghost Sword with surprise. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to have such a good relationship with his senior disciple. It seemed like a capable person wouldn't lack friends no matter where he went. Ghost Sword swallowed the pill. After that, he could feel a strong energy rushing into his body. He quickly sat down with his legs crossed. Just 10 minutes later, the sky was covered by thick clouds and lightning was flashing. This was the phenomenon of a 9th Divine Core cultivator breaking through to the core fragmentation realm. He did it. He really did it. A golden beam shot out from Ghost Sword's body. Yu Qiren, Yu Xiangtian, the Green Vine cult leader, and even the Flame Emperor used a special method to check Ghost Sword's cultivation. First level of the core fragmentation realm. He really broke through. Yu Xiangtian smiled bitterly. He didn't expect it to really work. He thought even though this Yin-Yang Harmony pill was a tier 4 pill, it was still a new pill. The effect shouldn't be this good. But from the looks of it now, he was really wrong, ridiculously wrong. Not only did he fail to suppress Ling Xiao, his relationship with Ling Xiao had become awkward. I have to make up for it. With that thought in mind, Yu Xiangtian took the lead and said, Yin-Yang Harmony pill, no wonder it's a tier 4 pill. Ghost Sword's cultivation has indeed broken through to the core fragmentation realm from the peak 9th Divine Core Realm, and he didn't suffer any setbacks during the process. There weren't even any side effects. This is amazing. I hereby announce that the champion of this year's alchemy competition is Ling Xiao. Since Yu Xiangtian had announced it, there was no need for the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall to repeat it. Instead, he took the lead and started clapping. The applause was like thunder. Cheers rose and fell one after another. The audience was able to enjoy an exciting duel. Many of them even put themselves in Ling Xiao's shoes. Therefore, Ling Xiao's victory was their victory. The deafening cheers didn't stop. The entire Baoha Hall had become a sea of excitement and noise. Perhaps even Yu Xiangtian didn't expect this. This alchemy competition had actually helped Ling Xiao. It had made Ling Xiao the most dazzling figure in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. Sigh, it'll be even harder to deal with him in the future. Yu Xiangtian shook his head and smiled bitterly. This was truly a miscalculation. Ha ha ha. I knew that young master would have no problem, but I'm really surprised that he was able to win against that old man, Fire King. Old ancestor Scarlet Flame excitedly stood up from his seat. He knew Fire King's alchemy skills very well. He was the strongest alchemist in the golden, heavenly region. Even in the entire 4 regions and 9 worlds, he was one of the top 3 alchemists. Even he had lost to Ling Xiao. What did this mean? It meant that Ling Xiao's alchemy skills had reached the top 3 in the 4 regions and 9 worlds. This was too frightening. Yeah, I really didn't expect this. Sword Maiden Azure Lotus couldn't help but sigh, although she supported Ling Xiao. But the moment Ling Xiao won the championship, she still felt like she was dreaming. I'm afraid that from today onwards, there will be many powerhouses in the entire Heavenly Demon Ghost region who want to befriend him. It might even include the Demon Emperor. After all, his current alchemy skills have already surpassed Fire King. When the Demon Emperor went to find Fire King to refine pills, he was rejected. Old ancestor Scarlet Flame laughed. What you said is really a problem. Some people want to befriend him, and some people want to capture him for themselves. Sword Maiden Azure Lotus frowned. Don't be afraid with that old man Fire King here. Unless the Demon Emperor comes personally, don't even think about it. Although old ancestor Scarlet Flame didn't like his uncle, but he was still very sure of his uncle's strength. Listening to the cheers of the crowd, Ling Xiao just smiled faintly. He had experienced too much. This bit of vanity could no longer affect him. He believed that from today onwards, Yu Xiangtian would definitely be respectful to him. This was one of the benefits of him winning the championship. Of course, there was another benefit, which was the champion's reward. 3 little schwa network superscript 1. 3 cubed carat x carat m is worth collecting. Chapter 4230. Ling Xiao, congratulations. Yu Dan stretched out his hand and said to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao gently held Yu Dan's hand and said with a faint smile, "There's nothing to congratulate me on. As far as I'm concerned, this is nothing more than an ordinary alchemy session. Aren't you too arrogant?" Yu Dan smiled bitterly. Arrogant? Why do people always treat the truth as arrogance? Ling Xiao let go of his hand and said with a faint smile. To him, this alchemy actually didn't have any competition from the beginning to the end. If one had to say that there was competition, then it would be him competing with himself. Because to create a pill that was lost in the eternal divine pill scripture, this was a very difficult challenge. Fortunately, he succeeded. This made him have a strong sense of pride. Damn it, even if he was already convinced by Ling Xiao's strength, losing to Ling Xiao for green spirit, it was still a shame. He definitely couldn't tolerate such a failure. Of course, winning against Ling Xiao in alchemy was almost impossible. After all, even his master couldn't do it. So he had another idea. That was to kill Ling Xiao. As long as Ling Xiao died, no matter how powerful he was, it was meaningless. In alchemy, I'm inferior to you, but in combat strength, I don't lose to you. Moreover, among the people I associate with, there are many powerful ones. Green Spirit gritted his teeth and turned to leave. He had already remembered this humiliation in his heart. This hatred must be avenged. The alchemy conference is over. The runner-up and runner-up will follow the shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall to receive the prize. Champion, I will personally reward you. Yu Xiangtian announced the end of the alchemy conference. Only then did people leave reluctantly. Ling Xiao winked at Green Lotus, Sword Girl, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame. The 3 of them left quietly. Winning the championship was, of course, a good thing. But there were also many troublesome things. If they didn't leave early, they would probably be surrounded later. Brother Ling, why are you leaving so quickly? I haven't had time to thank you yet. Near the Yu family, he met Ghost Sword. There's no need to thank me. You just need to remember that you owe me a favor. Ling Xiao smiled. Forget it. But although the alchemy conference is over, there is still the selection of the successor of the Fengdu Demon Kingdom. Aren't you going to participate? Ghost Sword asked. I don't have that qualification. You, on the other hand, as the disciple of the Devil Emperor, should have that qualification. Ling said. I'm not interested. The position of Demon Venerate of the Fengdu demonic nation is far inferior to the position of Demon Emperor. Moreover, I'm not from Fengdu Demon Kingdom. On the other hand, Qi, Black Pearl, and the others have already returned. It's just now. They asked me to bring a message. Don't miss them. Also, I wish. Ling Xiao nodded. Moreover, he believed in the character of those people. All right, I won't disturb you from receiving the award. But let me remind you, you still have to pay attention to Yu Xiangtian. That person is very patient and ambitious. He will definitely try his best to poach an alchemist like you. If soft methods don't work, I'm afraid he will use hard methods. You must be careful. After saying that, Ghost Sword disappeared from the street. Looking at Ghost Sword's back, Ling Xiao took a deep breath. The danger has never been less. Why would I be afraid? Sister Qinglian, Brother Qihua, you guys go back first. I'll go receive the award alone. Now that the demon son hasn't recovered, they won't dare to do anything to me. All right, if there's anything, remember to call us. Even if I have to risk my life, I won't let anything happen to you. Ancestor Qi Hua said, Don't be afraid, isn't there still the Fire King? He wants to get the owner of the heavenly demon's heart. Moreover, he lost the bet to me, so he will naturally protect me. I believe that even the strongest demon king of the Yu family shouldn't be his match, right? Ling Xiao smiled. That's why I say you're smart. This matter is too beautiful. You made the Fire King your bodyguard. In the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, you can definitely run amok. I'm not bragging, but even if the Demon Emperor comes, the Fire King will still have the power to fight. Ancestor Qi Hua said, All right, stop bragging. Let the young master go receive the award. The reward this time is very rich. Sword Maiden Qinglian pushed Ancestor Qi Hua, and the two of them went to the residence from the side door. As for Ling Xiao, he went to Yu Xiangtian's residence from the main door. The champion's reward was personally awarded by Yu Xiangtian. Congratulations, young hero Ling. You've really achieved a great victory this time. Entering Yu Xiangtian's room, Ling Xiao heard his hearty laughter. This guy really knows how to act. He clearly didn't want him to win the championship before. There's nothing to congratulate, it's nothing to me. Where's the reward? Ling Xiao asked straightforwardly. This is the pill formula of the shattered pill divine water. Yu Xiangtian didn't play any tricks. He gave the pill formula of the shattered pill divine water to Ling Xiao. This shattered pill divine water could be said to be the best among level 4 pills. It could be used until one advanced to the divine body realm. Therefore, it was much bigger than the Yin-Yang Harmony pill. Ling Xiao grabbed the pill formula, and a wave of soul fluctuations came. A large amount of memories poured into his mind. Yes, this is indeed the shattered pill divine water. Ling Xiao was excited. Once the shattered pill divine water was successfully refined, it would be of great benefit to him in the future. The most direct purpose of him winning the championship, this time, was for this pill formula. Don't be in a hurry to leave. Actually, I have a presumptuous request, and I hope young hero Ling can help me. Seeing that Ling Xiao was about to leave after taking the reward, Yu Xiangtian became anxious. He hurriedly stopped him and said, Let's talk about the matter of helping tomorrow. I'm already very tired today, and I still have to heal the demon's son later. Today is also the last day, and it's very important. Ling Xiao didn't need to think to know what Yu Xiangtian wanted him to do. Naturally, he didn't want to help, so he delayed it. He had no reason to help the Yu family refine the shattered pill divine water. After all, these guys from the Yu family were his potential enemies. That's true. Young hero Ling, go back and have a good rest. We'll talk about this matter tomorrow. Yu Xiangtian thought for a moment and said, Goodbye. Ling Xiao turned and left. Not long after, Yu Qiren came out of the small house next to him. Father, this kid doesn't know how to appreciate favors. He's obviously shirking. We spent a lot of manpower and resources to hold this alchemy conference, just to find a powerful alchemist for the Yu family to refine the shattered pill divine water. Not only for the demon son, but also for our family. Why don't we tie him up? Yu Qiren gritted his teeth. Are you crazy? He's a distinguished guest of the City of Gold. If you tie him up, do you believe that the City of Gold won't fight with you? Now that we've gradually stabilized, we can't fight with the City of Gold. Otherwise, Those guys who are watching the show will definitely benefit. Yu Xiangtian shook his head and said, "Let's wait and see. He's still in the Yu family anyway." Please remember the domain name of this book. Come and read the mobile version. Chapter 40, 231. Ling Xiao went to Ling Zhao's place for a while. He found out from his venerable master that everything was going smoothly, but the process might take longer than expected. Ling Xiao had already expected this. How could the demon lord's soul be destroyed so easily? As long as everything went smoothly, it would be fine. After that, he returned to his residence and cultivated with Green Lotus Swordswoman an old ancestor Scarlet Flame. Because of the pills, his body had reached the peak of the 8th Order Emperor realm. But it wasn't that easy to break through. In order to continue improving his combat strength, he could only focus on the 12 Divine Beasts technique. Now that his body had become stronger, he could try to cultivate the 12 Divine Beasts technique to the 3rd level. For the first one, he chose the Blood Diamond Rat, which represented blood and slaughter. For the second one, he chose the 9 Heavens Glacial Dragon, which represented ice and frost. As for the third one, he didn't have many choices, because he only had 2 top-grade Demon Beast cores left. One was the One-Eyed Thunderstorm Bull, and the other was the Flying Flaming Lion. Fire and water were incompatible. When ice and fire met, it would be difficult for them to fuse together, but the destructive power would be amazing. Therefore, he decided to cultivate with the Flying Flaming Lion. The Flying Flaming Lion represented destruction and flames. The second level of the 12 Divine Beast technique could unleash a power close to the peak of the 8th Order Emperor realm. Then, the third level of the 12 Divine Beast technique might even surpass the heaven-covering palm and reach the true peak of the 8th Order Emperor realm. If he used the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, his power could even reach the 9th Order Emperor realm. This was too important for him. If his cultivation wasn't good enough, he could make up for it with martial skills. There had to be a way for him to become stronger. He believed that as long as he cultivated the 12 Divine Beasts technique to the 3rd level with the heaven-covering palm, he should be able to kill a mere late Heavenly Core Warrior in an instant. As for a peak Heavenly Core Warrior, he could definitely defeat them alone. He didn't need to rely on the Giant Devil. After all, the Giant Devil was an external force. It could help him get through the crisis during this period, but it wasn't something that could last long. In the long run, it was more useful to increase his own strength. His perception was already very strong, and with the Tai Chi Eye, cultivating martial skills was already very easy. Besides, he had the experience of cultivating the Blood Diamond Rat and 9 Heavens Glacial Dragon. They were all existences of the same level. With experience, it would be much easier. He reckoned that he would be able to complete his cultivation today. At this stage, he could only rely on the 12 Divine Beasts technique and heaven-covering palm. The Plum Blossom Acupuncture Hand and Falling Plum Blossom Clear Shadow Steps could also be used as support, fighting together with the Beast Spirit martial technique. As for the other martial skills that he had cultivated in the past, they could no longer keep up with the increase in strength. After a night of cultivation, he had already grasped the basics of the Flying Flaming Lion move. However, if he wanted to use it in actual combat, he would have to think about it a little more. Anyway, he had nothing else to do today. He only needed to go to Ling Zhao's place at noon to check on the situation. He seemed to have forgotten what Yu Xiangtian had said yesterday. She had something important to discuss with him today. After breakfast, Ling Xiao prepared to continue cultivating. There was a knock on the door. A young man stepped into Ling Zhao's residence. This person wasn't anyone else. It was Yu Luan. Ling Xiao and he could be considered old acquaintances. After the battle in Fengdu Devil Forest, the two of them hated each other. Ling Xiao wanted to find an opportunity to kill Yu Luan. Yu Luan also wanted to find an opportunity to kill Ling Xiao. However, The two of them showed rare forbearance under such special circumstances. There was also an unfamiliar man who came with Yuan. His strength was not as good as Yuan's, but his arrogance was bigger than Yuan's. He stood there with an impatient look. A sinister look flashed across Yuan's eyes, and then he looked at Ling Xiao and said, "Mr. Ling, the patriarch invites you in. He said that he had discussed with you yesterday and that he has something important to discuss today." "Something important? What is it?" Ling Xiao had indeed forgotten, because he only cared about cultivation and left other things to the back of his mind. "You're so forgetful, aren't you? As for the specifics, I actually don't know either. Won't you understand when you reach the patriarch?" Yu Luan smiled. Why didn't he come to me? When Ling Xiao had something to do, he didn't want to waste time. Bastard thing. Who the hell do you think you are, to actually dare make the patriarch come to find you? I heard that you won the Alchemy Summits Championship. What a joke. So what if you're an alchemist? In the end, aren't you still working for us martial artists? Pretending to be virtuous, my ass. Yu Luan spoke very politely because he knew Ling Xiao's prowess, but the person beside him was different. He only knew that Ling Xiao was the Alchemy Summits champion and did not know anything else. In addition, there were people instigating from the side, saying a lot of bad things about Ling Xiao, resulting in his impression of Ling Xiao being very bad. His words were also very impolite. "Yu Zhong, how can you talk to Mr. Ling like that?" Yu Luan said angrily, "Remember, Mr. Ling is our Yu family's honored guest. He killed quite a number of our Yu family's people. Yu Qin and Yu Zhan were both killed by him, but the patriarch didn't say anything. You still dare to be disrespectful to him?" Yu Luan's words seemed to be reprimanding Yu Zhong, but no matter how one listened, it seemed to be deliberately adding oil to the fire. The patriarch is too spineless. This person killed so many of our Yu family's people, and you still want to invite him. If I were the patriarch, I would definitely not let him off. Yu Zhong snorted coldly. Who sent this idiot? Does Yu Xiangtian want me to be angry? Ling Xiao frowned slightly. He felt that today's matter was a little strange. To invite him, Yu Luan should have come alone, but he actually let this Yu Zhong follow. This was clearly looking for trouble. This Yu Zhong was probably more stupid normally. He did things without thinking, so he would be used by others. Bastard, who are you calling an idiot? Yu Zhong's strength was still quite outstanding among the young disciples of the Yu family. He couldn't go to the Fengdu Demon Forest because he was sick. He had always felt uncomfortable in his heart. He always felt that if he went, he would definitely be able to get the demonic epiphyllum. But he didn't think about it. Yu Feng, Yu Luan, and even Yu Qiong, who were stronger than him, couldn't do it. What right did he have? However, this person was such an idiot. He wouldn't think about these things at all. He would only arrogantly look down on others. As he spoke, he was about to make a move, but he was stopped by Yu Luan. Yu Luan, I understand your little thoughts. You just want him to provoke me, and then let me deal with him. This Yu Zhong should have some powerful background, right? Ling Xiao saw through Yu Luan's little thoughts with a glance. Little guy, you don't dare to provoke me, but you let an idiot be the vanguard. Not bad, you're good. My father is the patriarch's brother, Yu Wentian. Yu Zhong didn't feel ashamed, but rather proud. Ling Xiao had already made it so clear, but he still didn't realize that he was being used. Forget it. I'm not interested in knowing who your father is. Yu Luan, lead the way, I'll go find your patriarch. No matter what, I'm still eating and drinking for free in your family. Ling Xiao suddenly changed his mind, because he felt that it was not suitable for him to shed all pretense of cordiality with you, Xiangtian now. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version update website, M. Chapter 40, 232. Ling Xiao thought about it. Now was not the time to shed all pretense of cordiality with Yu Xiangtian. Ling Jiao's treatment was not over yet. He still had to stay here for a few days. It's good that Mr. Ling can understand. Yu Luan smiled, but there was some awkwardness in her smile. Her little trick was seen through by Ling Xiao. It was really a slap in the face. Sister Qinglian, brother Qihua, come with me. I guess the Yu family's patriarch asked Yu Luan to invite me so seriously. There must be something important. I'm still young, and I'm afraid I can't handle some things well. I need the two of you to help me. Ling Xiao was worried that this was a trap, so he asked Qinglian's swordswoman and ancestor Qihua to follow. This way, if they fought, they would not be at a disadvantage. Not just anyone can attend the banquet prepared by the patriarch. Today, the patriarch only invited you. As for the two dogs beside you, they don't deserve it. Yu Zhong suddenly spoke, full of provocation. Originally, Ling Xiao did not take this idiot to heart. He felt that this guy was just a fool who was being used. But when he heard these words, his face immediately became ugly. He suddenly took a step forward. A terrifying killing intent wrapped around Yu Zhong. Yu Luan had no intention of stopping him. This was the effect he wanted. If Yu Zhong was killed by Ling Xiao, he would be happy. Since he did not stop him, Ling Xiao would not be polite. He directly pointed his finger, and Yu Zhong's mouth was full of blood. Half of his tongue had been cut off. Ah! His tongue was painful. Once it was broken, it would really hurt to death. If it was an ordinary person, they would have died long ago. Yu Zhong was a martial artist, after all. After suffering a great deal of pain, he forcefully activated his vital essence and recondensed his tongue. But it was obvious that this guy was terrified. You actually dare to cut off my tongue. Are you crazy? Yu Zhong finally understood why Yu Luan was so respectful in front of Ling Xiao. This Ling Xiao was really terrifying. In fact, the moment Ling Xiao made his move, he was very pleased with himself. He felt that his provocation was effective. He could use this as an excuse to teach Ling Xiao a lesson. However, he couldn't see Ling Xiao's attack at all. It was too fast. The angle was too tricky. He was a late heavenly core warrior, but in front of Ling Xiao, he was just like a pitiful baby. He was really useless. He was too useless. Crazy? Didn't Yu Luan tell you that I killed Yu Zhan yesterday? Ling Xiao said coldly. Hearing this, Yu Zhong was stunned. She looked at Yu Luan with some confusion, then turned to look at Ling Xiao and said, Yu Zhan is just a branch family's disciple. He was indeed very strong, but his status was nothing much. I'm different. I already told you. The patriarch had 2 brothers and a younger sister. The 4 of them were the true rulers of the Yu family. The patriarch often went into seclusion to cultivate. The affairs of the Yu family are all handled by my father, Yu Wentian, Yu Dingtian, and Yu Lianhua. They are my 3rd uncle and auntie. They help me from the side. Since you killed Yu Zhan, maybe the patriarch won't do anything to you for some reason. But you cut my tongue, the patriarch won't forgive you. Is that so? Thank you for your reminder. But let me tell you something. I'm a guest invited by Yu Xiangtian. I'm not a servant of your family. If you don't provoke me, I won't do anything. But if you provoke me, not to mention that you're Yu Wentian's son, even if you're Yu Xiangtian's son, I'll still kill you. Stop talking nonsense. Lead the way. If you dare say anything disrespectful again, I won't just cut your tongue. I'll cut your head off. Crazy. Yu Zhong didn't expect Ling Xiao to not be afraid even after he told him his father's identity. This made him feel very unhappy, but he couldn't do anything about it. Looking at Yu Luan's cowardly face, she wouldn't do anything here. He couldn't defeat Ling Xiao. It looked like he could only think of a solution during the banquet. With this thought in mind, he stopped talking nonsense. He followed Yu Luan and led the way. Ling Xiao also followed. Young master's personality is even more domineering than his grandfather's. I'm afraid his future achievements will be higher than his grandfather's and our master's. Ancestor Scarlet Flame followed behind and sighed. If it's just domineering, it definitely won't work. Young Master is not only domineering, he also has many trump cards that others can't imagine. Most of the enemies who went against him were destroyed by him. If this Yu Zhong still jumps around like this, he will definitely be killed by Young Master. Green Lotus Sword Maiden also nodded and said, Young Master is an existence that can even trick Fire King. I'm afraid others won't be able to play with him. These two naturally had a high opinion of Ling Xiao. They were captured and their cultivation was sealed. They thought they were going to become cripples. In the end, after Ling Xiao returned, he refined 2 pills that miraculously helped them recover their strength. It even allowed them to make a breakthrough. It wasn't that they were disrespectful, but even Huang Jindi couldn't do it. That was why they had an idea. Ling Xiao's future achievements were something that even Huang Jindi, Demon Emperor, and the others couldn't compare with. Where are we going? Ling Xiao didn't know much about the Yu family, because the Yu family's mansion was too big. It took up a quarter of Fengdu City. It was even bigger than the capital cities of many countries that Ling Xiao had seen before. It was such a big mansion. He wasn't in the mood to wander around. The meeting hall. Yu Luan replied. Every big family had their own meeting hall. This was the place where every family held their meeting. The Yu family was a big family, so of course they weren't that powerful. What Ling Xiao didn't know was that the meeting hall was already filled with people. Basically, all the higher-ups of the Yu family had arrived, except for those who were in secluded cultivation or out on missions. The rest were all waiting for Ling Xiao in the meeting hall. The 300 elders of the Yu family, all of them 9th-level divine core warriors. This time, there were over 200 of them. There were also a dozen grand elders, all of whom were experts in the core fragmentation realm. There were also 10 of them. In addition, there were nearly 100 outstanding disciples. These people included Yu Qiong and Yu Feng. Both of them were the strongest amongst all the outstanding disciples under the age of 50. However, they weren't the strongest amongst those under the age of 100. The strongest amongst those under the age of 100 was naturally Yu Qilian, 9th level Shattered Core Realm. No one could compare with him. Besides that, the manager of the Yu family's auction house, Yu Haotian, the manager of the Baoha Hall, and the sect leader of the Green Luo cult had all arrived as well. Most of them were his family. Even if they weren't his family, they were still his allies. Yu Xiangtian wanted to let Ling Xiao know how powerful the Yu family was. Then he would make a request, and it would be easier for Ling Xiao to agree. It was a threat, but at the same time it was a lure. It was a direct threat. Most of the warriors here were stronger than Ling Xiao. It was also a lure. As long as the Yu family was strong enough, they would be able to get more resources. If Ling Xiao was willing to become the Yu family's alchemist, his future achievements would be limitless. End of chapter. Chapter 40-233. After arriving at the meeting hall, Yu Zhong ran directly to his father to complain. Yu Luan looked at Ling Xiao with a smile and said, Mr. Ling, there are a lot of people here today. I didn't expect you to bring these 2 seniors here, so I didn't arrange a seat. I'm sorry. Ling Xiao sneered and turned to walk outside. Playing this kind of show of strength, don't you know who I am? He had already noticed that Yu Xiangtian and Yu Qilian were already present. In the crowd, he even saw the figures of Fire King and old Demon Han. It seemed that the Yu family didn't just invite him. They also invited Fire King and old Demon Han. As for Yu Dan, she was the disciple of the Demon Emperor. Of course, they didn't dare to invite her. Poaching the Demon Emperor's disciple? Unless they didn't want to stay. Lu Ling stayed behind the Luo cult leader and stared at Ling Xiao. She couldn't wait to bite Ling Xiao to death. Mr. Ling, don't be anxious. When Yu Luan saw that Ling Xiao was about to leave, he was speechless. Damn, he was actually so direct. His original intention was to give Ling Xiao a show of strength. But he didn't expect Ling Xiao to be even more domineering than him. He turned and left. If Ling Xiao left, he would be in trouble. At the very least, Yu Xiangtian would definitely not forgive him. What else do you have to say? Ling Xiao sneered. Don't worry, although there are no seats, with my identity, I can still help you find 2 seats. Yu Wan smiled bitterly and walked to the side of the 2 disciples. He made the 2 of them stand up. When the 2 of them saw that it was Yu Wan, they didn't dare to say anything. Not only was Yu Wan talented, but his father was also Yu Dingtian. He had a respected status and couldn't be offended. Young master, please sit. Green Lotus Swordwoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame really treated Ling Xiao as their young master. In the past, they only followed Ling Xiao because of his relationship with Hong Qi. It was a bit awkward to call him young master, but it was different now. Ling Xiao continued to perform shocking feats. Not only did he obtain the demonic epiphyllum, but he also took first place in the alchemy conference. His alchemy skills surpassed the Fire Emperor's. They truly admired Ling Xiao and were willing to treat him as their young master. Of course, more importantly, Ling Xiao had unsealed their cultivation and healed their injuries. He even helped them achieve breakthroughs. To them, this was no less than Hong Qi's kindness. They willingly called him young master. Seeing this scene, not only was Yu Xiangtian surprised, Fire King was also surprised. Even he didn't respect Green Lotus and Qihua that much. He was actually so respectful to a little fellow. It seemed that their relationship was not shallow. The Flame Emperor was also very fond of Ling Xiao. Although he had lost both bets, he did not hate Ling Xiao. Instead, he wanted to befriend him. It was impossible for him to become a master, but friends were still necessary. His alchemy skills had been unable to improve, and he was looking for an expert to give him a few pointers. Ling Xiao had appeared, so from this moment on, he would definitely protect Ling Xiao. Yu Xiangtian's thoughts were even more complicated. At first, he was still skeptical of Ling Xiao's words, but now that he saw this scene, he was even more convinced that Ling Xiao was a relative of some supreme expert in the Golden City. He really couldn't afford to provoke him. Everyone sat around a huge round table. The table was filled with things that were usually hard to eat. Not only were they delicious, but they were also extremely beneficial to a cultivator's cultivation. In any case, mortals would definitely not be able to eat them. The design of the round table was not bad. As long as one turned it gently, they could eat the dishes they wanted to eat. Although Ling Xiao did not know why Yu Xiangtian invited him to such a place, but since there was delicious food, he naturally would not be polite. Although he was the Heavenly Emperor of the Heavenly Empire, but he had never eaten any of the delicacies on the table. After sitting on the table, he simply started to eat and drink. He did not treat himself as a guest at all. Azure Lotus Swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame sat on the side, shaking their heads and smiling bitterly. Everything about this young master was good, but he was too stubborn. You too, don't just watch. Hurry up and eat. While eating, Ling Xiao asked the other 2 to eat as well. His appearance immediately attracted the attention of almost everyone. Actually, many people were unfamiliar with Ling Xiao, although they knew that someone had won the alchemy competition and his name was Ling Xiao. But the key was that they had never seen him before. Who is this foodie? Is he here to eat and drink for free? Sure, he is that Ling Xiao who won the alchemy competition. Ling Xiao? He mid-earth core realm? Wasn't his cultivation a little too weak? Those from the Yu family who are qualified to enter this place are at least at the early heavenly core realm. He is not strong, but his alchemy skills are amazing. I heard that he can control immortal flames. He even has 2 divine flames. I think the Patriarch is trying to recruit him, but he doesn't look like an alchemy master at all. He looks more like a beggar who has never seen the world. He looks like he hasn't eaten for 8 lifetimes. Forget it. Let's not talk about him anymore. Although his cultivation base isn't high, his combat strength isn't weak. I heard that Yu Zhan went looking for trouble with him, but he was killed. What? He killed someone from the Yu family, and he still has the guts to attend the banquet? Everyone was surprised. They wondered who gave Ling Xiao such courage. If it was someone else who killed someone from the Yu family, they would have run away by now. Unlike him, after killing someone, he still dared to eat here with no qualms. There was no one else like him. Bastard, who pressed down on my table? Suddenly, Yu Wentian slammed the table and stood up fiercely. While eating, Ling Xiao looked at this man. Compared to Yu Xiangtian, this Yu Wentian was taller and had a ferocious look. But compared to Yu Xiangtian, his strength was far weaker. He was even weaker than Yu Qilian. However, under the divine body realm, his strength was definitely considered strong. Beside Yu Wentian sat a young man with half white and half black hair. He looked young on the surface, but he was actually more than 100 years old. Over there was Yu Dingtian, Yu Luan's father. This person's face had always been very gloomy, as if everyone owed him money. His eyes were constantly revealing an expression that kept people at a distance of 1,000 miles away. Right? He was not only Yu Luan's father, but also Yu Feng and Yu Chen's father. This person definitely knew that Ling Xiao killed Yu Qin. He must hate Ling Xiao to death, but he didn't show it. So, he was even more sinister than Yu Wentian. Further to the side was a middle-aged woman, Yu Lianhua. She was also Yu Xiangtian's sister. She was quite good-looking, but her appearance reminded Ling Xiao of Yuna. Could she be Yuna's mother? Damn it. 3 of the 4 patriarchs of the Yu family had great enmity with him. However, Ling Xiao wasn't afraid of these people. With Green Lotus Swordswoman and Patriarch Crimson Flame, they couldn't hurt Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was still afraid of Yu Xiangtian. A divine body realm powerhouse could only be killed by a divine body realm powerhouse. That was why he set a trap for the Flame Emperor and made him his bodyguard. Even if Yu Xiangtian was angry and wanted to kill him, the Flame Emperor definitely wouldn't just stand by and watch. Please remember the domain name of this book. Let's all read it on mobile. Chapter 40, 234. Kid, I'm asking you a question. You're not the only one at the table. Why are you pressing on the table? Yu Wentian saw that Ling Xiao did not respond and asked directly, When did you become blind? I'm holding food in both hands. Is there a third hand pressing on the table? Idiot. Ling Xiao rolled his eyes and said in annoyance, Buzz. His words caused everyone in the meeting hall to stop moving their chopsticks and stop talking. Damn, so strong. That's Yu Wentian, Yu Xiangtian's brother, one of the leaders of the Yu family. He actually dares to speak like that? Does he want to die? Yu Wentian was also stunned and only came back to his senses after a while. No wonder Yu Zhong said that you're arrogant and condescending. I didn't believe it at first, but now it seems that you're really like that. Don't think that you can be condescending just because you're the champion of the alchemy conference. Let me tell you, this is the Yu family, not the City of Gold. Regarding Ling Zhao's matter, Yu Tian also heard about it from Yu Xiangtian. However, he believed that a strong dragon could not suppress a local snake. Not to mention Ling Xiao. Even if the Almighty of the City of Gold came, they would have to follow the rules of the Yu family. I'm arrogant. I'm condescending. What can you do? Look at you. Your patriarch didn't say anything, and you're still finding fault with me? Let me tell you, Yu Zhong dared to insult Qinglian and Qihua. I'm already giving you a lot of face by not killing him. You even dare to complain. Do you want to die? Ling Xiao stepped on the stool and looked coldly at Yu Wentian. You want to kill me? Come on. I want to see if I die or if your Yu family is destroyed. He was not giving Yu Wentian a way out. He wanted to make a big deal out of it, because if he made a big deal out of it, he would have a reason to reject Yu Xiangtian's proposal. Moreover, he had to be arrogant because of his current identity. Otherwise, no one would believe him. Yu Wentian did not plan to do anything to Ling Xiao. He just wanted to avenge his son. Just let Ling Xiao apologize and admit defeat. However, now that things had turned out like this, it made him feel very awkward. It was hard to get off the tiger. He had no idea how to end the situation. Admit defeat, it's too embarrassing. But if he went head-on, it would disrupt Yu Xiangtian's plan. What a contradiction. What's there to argue about? One is the head of the Yu family, and the other is an honored guest of the Yu family. Aren't you afraid of being seen as a joke by others? Take a step back. Big brother, sit down. Mr. Ling, please take a seat. You don't look good standing on the chair. Don't insult your status. At this time, Yu Xiangtian came out to be the peacemaker. He had to do this. Otherwise, if a fight really broke out, there would be no way to end it. Yu Wentian took advantage of the situation and said, "Patriarch is right, I was too impulsive." "That's right, you were impulsive. Not only were you impulsive, you were also stupid." Ling Xiao's voice sounded again. This caused everyone to be dumbfounded. What was this kid trying to do? Even Yu Xiangtian came out to be the peacemaker. Why didn't he stop while he was ahead? How would they know? Ling Xiao was prepared to reveal a little of his strength today. He wanted to expose the fact that sword Maiden Qinglian and old ancestor Scarlet Flame had recovered from their injuries and had broken through. He wanted to suppress the arrogance of the Yu family. In this way, even if someone didn't like him and wanted to cause trouble for him, they would have to think twice. Yu Xiangtian's expression was very ugly. He really didn't expect that Ling Xiao would be so arrogant that he didn't even give him face. "Patriarch, you heard it too. This kid scolded me. Originally, I thought that everyone was at fault for today's matter, so I let it go. Who knew that a little brat like him, who hasn't even grown all his hair, would actually scold me? This is intolerable," Yu Wentian said angrily. "First of all, this young master's hair is all grown. Secondly, this young master is not targeting anyone. Yu Wentian, and your son are both trash. Since he wanted to establish his power, he had to find someone who was easy to bully. Although Yu Wentian was not easy to bully, relatively speaking, he was much weaker than Yu Xiangtian. He was also weaker than Yu Qilian. With old ancestor Scarlet Flame's current strength, it shouldn't be a problem to take him down. As for Yu Zhong, he was even easier to bully." Hearing these words, the Yu family was unwilling. Although Ling Xiao was only scolding Yu Wentian alone, but Yu Wentian was the head of their Yu family. Wasn't this scolding them too? The group of people were furious. "Who do you think you are? You're just relying on the fact that the demon child is your sister, so you dare to be so arrogant." "That's right, relying on your sister to intimidate others. Who do you think you are? You're only at the middle stage of the Earth Core realm. If senior brother Yu Zhong is trash, then you're trash among trash. You're really shameless. Everyone, stop arguing. Although he's not strong, he's still an alchemy master. He won the championship of the alchemy conference," Yu Luan suddenly said. His words seemed to be persuading them, but in fact, it was adding fuel to the fire. Originally, these people were already dissatisfied with Ling Xiao, and when he said this, it made them even more unscrupulous. What's wrong with being an alchemist? It's just giving people a hard life. That's right, in the end, he's just a slave. When such words were heard by Fire Emperor and old Demon Han, their faces suddenly became gloomy. The cult leader of Lulua sect was also unhappy. "You're scolding Ling Xiao. Why are you also scolding me?" This was really too outrageous. "Don't say any more. Today I must teach this kid a lesson, so that he knows what it means to be an honest person, what it means to do things honestly." Yu Wentian waved his hand. He said loudly. At this time, Yu Xiangtian had no intention of stopping him. It seemed that he was ready to let Ling Xiao suffer a little. This was because Ling Xiao was too arrogant, and this made him very unhappy. You actually want to teach our young master a lesson. At this moment, Ancestor Scarlet Flame stood up and looked at Yu Wentian mockingly. What the young master said is true. You Wentian, are just trash. You've only cultivated to this extent at such an old age. What qualifications do you have to teach our young master a lesson? You have to know that Fire Emperor wanted to accept our young master as a disciple, but he failed. Fire Emperor was drinking tea and almost spat it out. Damn, why do you always have to belittle me when it's your business? Am I shameless? When the people of the Yu family heard Ancestor Scarlet Flame's words, they were furious. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. Like master, like servant. Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Your cultivation has long been crippled, and you still dare to clamor here today. Are you courting death? Yu Wentian sneered. There's no other way. This is my personality. If you dare to be disrespectful to the young master, I'll beat you trash. Ancestor Scarlet Flame had been pretending that his strength had not recovered for the past few days, which was very sullen. Today he had a chance to vent, so of course he was excited. Please remember the domain name of this book. Read the mobile version of the reading website. Chapter 40, 235. I really want to see what can happen after beating your young master. Yu Wentian couldn't stand Ancestor Scarlet Flame's sarcasm. This guy had a bad temper. He was the most impulsive of the 4 siblings of the Yu family. He was mocked by Ling Xiao. Now he was mocked by Ancestor Scarlet Flame. His anger immediately surged up. A violent aura burst out of his body. Then he jumped directly onto the dining table and punched Ling Xiao. The plates on the dining table immediately shattered, and it was a mess. The terrifying fist wind pounced on Ling Xiao like a ferocious beast. This guy wasn't like Ancestor Scarlet Flame, but he only beat up Ling Xiao. Obviously, his resentment towards Ling Xiao was deeper. You want to hurt our young master? Ancestor Scarlet Flame snorted coldly. He didn't show any weakness. On his right fist, raging flames were rolling. Then he punched out. It was like a fire dragon roaring. At that moment, everyone in the Yu family widened their eyes, because in their impression, this Ancestor Scarlet Flame's cultivation should have been sealed, and his injuries were so serious that it was impossible to recover in a short time. But the power of this punch was not inferior to Yu Wentian's. It even seemed to be stronger. Boom! The 2 fists met. Even the air seemed to explode. The entire dining table was completely shattered. The people around the dining table also retreated. Most of the martial artists were shocked until their faces turned pale. They were terrified. Some of them even vomited blood. One had to know that this was a battle between the top experts of the core-shattering realm. Except for a few people, no one could stand this kind of explosive feeling. This was only a collision, and both of them had actually held back. Otherwise, if they really fought, the meeting hall would probably collapse. Bang! In the end, Yu Wentian was still inferior to Ancestor Scarlet Flame. He was beaten back a few steps and directly hit the wall. The entire meeting hall shook. The current Ancestor Scarlet Flame was a 9th level expert of the core-shattering realm. Yu Wentian was at the 8th level of the core-shattering realm. Naturally, he couldn't be compared to Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Not only did he recover from his injuries, but his cultivation also broke through. Yu Qiren gritted his teeth. This was really a troublesome matter. Back then, he was able to capture Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Sword Maiden Green Lotus by himself. But now, he might not even be able to defeat Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Was all of this caused by Ling Xiao? He looked at Ling Xiao with a complicated expression. Wasn't Yu Xiangtian the same? If there was one person who could cure Green Lotus Swordswoman and Forefather Scarlet Flame, then this person must be Ling Xiao. Why wasn't such a talented person from the Yu family? Damn it! Forefather's scarlet flame was already so powerful. The Green Lotus swordswoman was definitely not bad either. The two of them were at the 9th level of the Shattered Core stage. This was a huge threat to the Yu family. Unless Yu Xiangtian, a divine physique echelon expert, personally intervened, it would be really difficult to deal with them. Both Yu Xiangtian and Yu Qiren were shocked. Not to mention the ordinary martial artists of the Yu family. Although Yuan Tian was not as good as Yu Xiangtian in their eyes, he was still an ancestor-level mission. He was a great being that one had to look up to. They had never thought about surpassing him. They only wanted to worship him. But now, a cruel fact was told to them. Ling Xiao, who they looked down on, actually had 2 terrifying existences that were even stronger than Yu Wentian by his side. What was the situation with this Ling Xiao? What was his identity? Why did these 2 powerhouses call him Young Master? They couldn't understand at all. But at this moment, they seemed to understand one thing, and that was why Ling Xiao was so arrogant. With such experts by his side, it was impossible not to be arrogant. But at the same time, they were also very jealous. They were all from the Yu family. They were the geniuses of the most powerful family in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. They were also a top force in the entire Heavenly Fiend Ghost region. But why didn't they have such experts by their side? What was so good about Ling Xiao? Was it because he knew how to refine pills? It really made people uncomfortable. The reason why they were uncomfortable was mainly because Ling Xiao's cultivation was too weak. As for the rumors that Ling Xiao killed Yu Zhan and Yu Qin, even those who witnessed it with their own eyes felt that Ling Xiao had used some scheme. Today, they saw Forefather Scarlet Flame make a move. They thought so even more. They felt that Forefather Scarlet Flame and Sword Maiden Qinglian were supporting him from behind. At this time, Ling Xiao drank a cup of wine. He threw the cup into the pile of ruins. He sighed with emotion and said, "A good table of dishes was ruined just like that. What a pity. Patriarch Yu, your hospitality today is not satisfactory. I am very unhappy. So let's end today's banquet here. Scarlet Flame Qinglian, let's go." He angered Yu Wentian in order to make Yu Xiangtian unable to make any requests. This way, he would have more reason to refuse. Otherwise, it would be troublesome to think of an excuse. And today, it was not him who took the initiative to find trouble, but Yu Wentian who came to find trouble with him for his stupid son. He couldn't admit defeat. These words were very reasonable, but in Yu Xiangtian's ears it was a great irony. Everyone in the Yu family looked at Ling Xiao with anger in their eyes. But Ling Xiao didn't care. Yu Xiangtian now had a favor to ask of him, and he was afraid of the people behind him, so he didn't dare to attack him. But he wanted to seek justice for Sword Maiden Qinglian and Forefather Scarlet Flame. Who was the one who tortured them? Who was the one who injured Sword Maiden Qinglian and Forefather Scarlet Flame? He hadn't forgotten this grudge yet. It was just that he didn't mention it when there were no conditions. "Mr. Ling, I won't beat around the bush. What conditions can make you refine the broken pill divine water for my Yu family?" Yu Xiangtian suddenly asked. Perhaps he felt that today's banquet was ruined. He might as well get straight to the point and ask. "It's very simple. First, let my sister go with me. Second, hand over the person who hurt Scarlet Flame and Qinglian. I want him to suffer the same pain." Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. Hearing this, Forefather Scarlet Flame and Sword Maiden Qinglian were both stunned and moved. They really didn't expect that Ling Xiao would actually care about the two of them so much. Yu Xiangtian's expression didn't look good. 2 conditions. He couldn't agree to any of them. Ling Jiaojiao was the devil's son, so she absolutely couldn't go with Ling Xiao because Ling Jiaojiao was going to marry Yu Qiren. As for the second condition, it was his son, Yu Qiren, who hurt Sword Maiden Qinglian and Forefather Scarlet Flame. It was even more impossible for him to hand it over. So, the cooperation is not possible. Yu Xiangtian frowned. At this moment, if it weren't for the fact that Ling Xiao was still healing the Devil Son, if it weren't for the powerful existence behind Ling Xiao, he really wanted nothing more than to immediately kill Ling Xiao. Whether we can cooperate or not, the conditions are there. It's up to you to decide, not me. Ling Jiaojiao is my sister and I will treat her well. But for other things, if you can't meet the conditions, don't bother me. After saying that, Ling Xiao lifted his foot and walked outside. Since the matter was done, he naturally had to leave. Genius, remember this site's address in a second. Chapter 40-236. Stop right there. Suddenly Yu Zhong shouted out. But this guy had been hiding beside his father, not daring to stand out. Obviously, he was frightened by Ling Xiao. What's wrong? You want to fight with me? Ling Xiao sneered. Ling Xiao, if you have the guts, don't ask those two men beside you to help you. Fight with the genius of our Yu family, like a real man. Yu Zhong shouted out. That's right, those who rely on their background will be looked down upon the most. Who do you think you are? The others started shouting out as well. That's right, without those two, without the Golden City, who do you think you are? How dare you show off in front of our Yu family? If you have the guts, don't rely on your background. Ling Xiao turned around and looked at these idiots, who were shouting like roosters. He suddenly laughed out. Are you idiots talking about yourselves? Without the Yu family, all of you useless people would have been killed long ago. Trying to show off in front of me? Why don't you take a look at yourselves? Well said. Ancestor Scarlet Flame shouted out. These bastards, all of you act as if you're some big shot. But in fact, you're all trash. During the battle in the Fengdu Demon Forest, our young master stole the Heavenly Devil Epiphyllum, and you still haven't learned it? All of you under the age of 50, do you have the guts to fight with our young master? I don't believe it. Who knows if you're telling the truth? Senior Disciple Yu Qiong is an early 9th level Divine Core Warrior. How could he possibly lose to you? Senior Disciple Yu Feng and Yu Luan won't lose either. That's right. It must be a rumor. Most of the people who said this didn't go to the Fengdu Demon Forest, or didn't see Ling Xiao steal the Heavenly Devil Epiphyllum. Stop embarrassing yourselves, he's right. The Heavenly Devil Epiphyllum was stolen by him. But that's because he used some dirty tricks. Yu Feng suddenly said. Hearing this, many people shut their mouths. The Heavenly Devil Epiphyllum was really stolen by Ling Xiao. This was truly embarrassing. But a moment later, they found a new reason. Shameless. Using despicable methods to obtain the demonic Sirius is also disgraceful. That's right. If you have the ability, why don't you practice in front of us? The purpose of these people was too obvious. He wanted to anger Ling Xiao so that Ling Xiao would impulsively accept the challenge. This way, they would have a way to kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was no longer cooperating with the Yu family. In that case, if he was killed in a fair duel, the person behind him wouldn't come looking for trouble. After all, this was only the young people's business. Yu Xiangtian, Yuan Tian, and the others did not intend to intervene. They just had to watch the show. It sounds like you guys really want to fight with me? Ling Xiao's lips curled into a cold smile. It just so happened that Huang Xiaolong hadn't fought since his physical body had advanced to the peak of the 8th Order Emperor realm. Today, so many people were willing to be his sparring partners, so why wouldn't he be happy? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Anyone below the age of 50 can fight with me. Life or death? What do you think? Ling Xiao stood there like a proud emperor. He looked at those pathetic and cowardly scums with disdain and said loudly, Life or death? Hearing this, many people wanted to back out, but there were still some who weren't afraid of death. Fine, life or death, I'll fight with you. The first person to stand out was an early Heavenly Core Warrior. He was around 46 years old. Obviously, this guy didn't know how strong Ling Xiao was. Or else, with his cultivation base, Standing out was the same as courting death. You can't do it. Killing you is too easy. It's boring. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, "Are you scared?" That guy was acting tough. Ling Xiao wanted to give this guy a chance to live. Since this bastard wanted to throw his life away, why should he refuse? Fine, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. We can't fight here. Why don't we go to the Yu family's training ground? Ling Xiao said with an indifferent tone. Let's go. Today, the Yu family was the most united of all. Everyone had treated Ling Xiao as their enemy. They all wanted to kill Ling Xiao. The group of men walked towards the training ground. Dad, aren't we going to stop them? That Ling Xiao is not weak. Even Yu Zhan was killed by him. Yu Qi-ren walked the back and asked Yu Xiangtian, I've heard about how he killed Yu Zhan. I think he used the power of the giant devil. Later, when Ling Xiao uses the giant devil, we'll intervene. Yu Xiangtian said with an indifferent tone, he's not that strong. Understood, Dad. Yu Qi-ren nodded his head. They didn't agree to this life or death battle. Therefore, at the critical moment, there was no problem for them to intervene. Soon after, they arrived at the training ground. The crowd dispersed. Ling Xiao and the early Heavenly Core disciple from the Yu family stood on the arena. They were about 100 meters apart from each other. The Heavenly Core disciple glared at Yu Xiang. Don't stare at me like that. I'll tell you the same thing. You're not my match. It's not too late to give up now. Otherwise, when you die later, people will say that I'm bullying the weak. Ling Xiao looked at the Heavenly Core disciple and said with an indifferent tone, there was no skill required to kill this kind of trash. It wouldn't help him increase his strength either. He was too lazy to do anything. Go die first. The Heavenly Core disciple didn't listen to Yu Xiang's advice. He immediately jumped towards Ling Xiao. You're just an Earth Core warrior. I can easily kill you without using my martial soul. While roaring, the Heavenly Core disciple turned into a black smoke. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Ling Xiao. A frightening black blade appeared out of nowhere and slashed towards Ling Xiao's head. Kill him. Kill that arrogant guy. Below the stage, the disciples of the Yu family were shouting. It was obvious that they hated Ling Xiao to the core. They wished that Ling Xiao would be chopped into pieces. Falling plum blossom steps, Ling Xiao moved his body. He dodged the Heavenly Core disciple's attack. He didn't use any weapons, and he didn't use any martial skills. He just kicked the Heavenly Core disciple away. He kicked the Heavenly Core disciple's head. Since it was a life or death battle, there was no need for him to show any mercy. The Heavenly Core disciple had already attacked. Bang! A loud sound was heard. The poor idiot was sent flying by the kick. The Heavenly Core disciple's head hung on a beam far away. The Heavenly Core disciple's head had exploded. As for his inner core, it had been destroyed by the terrifying True Yuan. Right at this moment, the entire arena was dead silent. One strike. He only used one strike. Ling Xiao had just killed an early Heavenly Core disciple from the Yu family. This kind of strength was too frightening. No way. Is this guy really a mid-Earth Core warrior? I'm confused as well. That kick was too powerful. Don't tell me he really got the Heavenly Devil Dutchman's pedal with his own strength? No matter what, he dared to kill a disciple from the Yu family. He's dead for sure. Listening to the shameless discussions of these people, a disdainful sneer emerged on Ling Xiao's face. If no one dares to fight, then let's call it a day. I'm not brave enough, and I'm afraid that the Yu family will come after me. Although it was the Yu family's genius who was courting death. It has nothing to do with me. End of chapter. Chapter 42-37. Don't be so arrogant. Fight me if you have the guts. Another man jumped onto the stage. This man was tall, and he was wearing heavy armor on both of his arms. It should be a defense and also a weapon. There were runes flashing on it. It was obviously a piece of equipment that had been enchanted. He should not be easy to deal with. Mid-heavenly core warrior? You can't do it either. Either you change your opponent or bring a few more. Otherwise, it will be too boring. Ling Xiao looked at the man. Although he was sure that this man was strong, compared to him, he was still too weak. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Soon, another 3 men jumped onto the stage. They looked 80% similar to the man in armor. They should be brothers. They might even be quadruplets. All 4 of them had strong bodies. One used armor to fight, one used a blade, one used a sword, and the last one used a crossbow. Crossbows were more suitable for long and medium-range combat. Obviously, these 4 men were good at cooperating. This Yu family is so shameless. For against one, aren't they afraid of being laughed at by others? Ancestor Scarlet Flame sneered. It was him who asked us to fight together. The man in armor said, Are you his grandson or his son? Why do you listen to everything he says? Ancestor Scarlet Flame said, sarcastically, All right, Scarlet Flame, don't tease them. Indeed, I was the one who said that they should go together. It's more fun this way. Ling Xiao smiled and said, However, I still have to remind the 4 of you. If you die, don't blame me. You asked for it. If we were afraid of death, we wouldn't have come. The 4 burly fellows roared. All right, let's fight. Ling Xiao waved his hand. Facing these 4 men, he knew he had to transform. Therefore, he instantly transformed into his Hell Shadow Rabbit Beast Soul. This Beast Soul transformation helped him enter his Shadow Warrior form when he was in danger. It could help him avoid a lot of danger. Transformation? You're a Beast Warrior? The man in armor was stunned for a moment and asked. Wrong, I'm a Beast God Warrior. Ling Xiao replied. Humph. Even if you're a Beast God Warrior, you must be the lowest level Beast God. Otherwise, your cultivation wouldn't be so weak. The man with the saber coldly snorted. Are you an idiot? I'm only 18 years old. The youngest of the 4 of you is in your 30s, right? Adding all of you together, you're more than 100 years old. His cultivation base was so low. You still dare to say that my cultivation is weak? According to your age, you should have been to Fengdu Demonic Forest before, right? You probably didn't reach the peak of Thunder Mountain, right? Ling Xiao's ability to mock others was not inferior to Ancestor Scarlet Flame's. The 4 of them blushed in embarrassment. Who cares? Go to hell. The man roared and charged at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had originally planned to repeat the same trick, using the falling plum clear shadow steps to switch positions. He saw that the crossbowman had actually shot out a crossbow arrow, but it was not aimed at him. Instead, it was stuck in the arena. In that instant, his surroundings were enveloped by golden light. He actually couldn't use his movement technique. I thought you were an assassin. I didn't expect you to be a support. Ling Xiao frowned, and the armed guard man's attack arrived. Brat, eat my fist. Let's see how you're going to dodge it. Hide? Do I need to hide? Ling Xiao sneered disdainfully. Since he couldn't dodge, then he would just attack. Facing the man's attack, he also threw out both of his fists. Seeing this, Yu Wentian laughed. This Ling Xiao is really stupid. He actually dares to compete with him in terms of body strength. That brat's body was trained by me, and it's even stronger than a late heavenly core warrior's body. Plus, there's the Vudra incantation on the arm guard. His body has almost reached the level of a mid-8th order emperor realm. Compared to many martial artists with weak physical bodies, he's really much more powerful. Before Yu Wentian could finish his explanation, suddenly a shocking sound could be heard. Crack! For fists collided. His vambrace actually shattered. Crack! The man's arms were fractured. His body was sent flying away. Ling Xiao wanted to chase after him, but he was attacked from both sides by the man with the long blade and the man with the long sword. The man let out a sigh of relief. Although Ling Xiao's physical body was stronger than he had expected, Ling Xiao's physical strength had exceeded his expectations. But as long as he didn't die, his broken bones would have a chance to heal. He just needed a moment to heal himself. However, the next scene left him dumbfounded. Facing the attacks from the man with the long blade and the man with the long sword, Ling Xiao didn't even try to dodge or block. They were still chasing after him. Clang, clang, bang. The three men hit their targets at the same time. The man with the arm guard stomach was pierced through. His inner core was shattered. He died with a horrified look on his face. As for the attacks from the man with the long blade and the man with the long sword, they didn't even leave a scratch on Ling Xiao's body. Instead, the weapon in his hand was broken. Next, you're mine. A ghostly voice rang out. Ling Xiao suddenly disappeared. Hell's Shadow Strike. When he reappeared, there was a 1-foot-long sword energy on his cold finger. It pierced into the man with the crossbow. The cold sword energy was wreaking havoc inside his body. It tore his inner core apart. Since you like to sneak up on people, I'll use the same method to kill you. Is that okay? In just a split second, the situation took a strange turn. Originally, the warriors of the Yu family were expecting Ling Xiao to be besieged and killed by the 4 men. But in less than a minute, just like that, 2 of them were killed. The man with the long sword and the man with the long blade saw that the situation was not right. They turned around and fled. The 4 of them were no match for Ling Xiao. 2 of their weapons were shattered by the impact. How could they fight? There was no chance at all. Since I've made my move, how could I let you escape? 2 snake heads suddenly stretched out from behind Ling Xiao. They bit on the necks of the 2 men. The poison seeped into the bodies of the 2 men. Their bodies and inner cores were all contaminated. Corrosion. A moment later, they fell to the ground and died. They had already given up resisting. Why did you still kill them? Yu Feng said angrily. I've said that this is a life and death duel. I've already warned them when they went into the ring. They didn't listen. When they slashed at me with their sabers and swords, you didn't seem to say anything. What nonsense are you spouting now? Ling Xiao looked at Yu Feng contemptuously and said, Or, do you also plan to have a life and death duel with me? Why wouldn't I dare? Yu Feng had been observing Ling Xiao's battle. He found that Ling Xiao's specialty was still his strong physical body. Coupled with the strangeness of the beast god martial spirit, it was not easy to deal with. But the attack power was limited, and there were no overly powerful moves. If it was him, he should be able to win. When he was in Fengdu Demon Forest, he already wanted to kill Ling Xiao. Now that he had the opportunity, how could he easily give it up? This was for him. It was a rare opportunity. Before, when he wanted to kill Ling Xiao, Yu Xiangtian stopped him. But this time he didn't know the reason. Yu Xiangtian didn't speak. If he didn't make a move this time, he probably wouldn't have the chance to. You have backbone. Ling Xiao clapped his hands and said, But if you go on stage, you have to sign the life and death agreement, and then let Patriarch Yu sign it. End of this chapter. Chapter 4238. Of course, Yu Feng was different from those trash. If those trash died, the Yu family might feel some heartache, but they wouldn't turn hostile on the spot. But Yu Feng was different. Cultivating a perfect heavenly core warrior below the age of 50 was not an easy task. The Yu family definitely wouldn't let this matter rest. Therefore, Ling Xiao had to be serious. You want to fight? Sure, sign the life and death contract. And the Yu family's patriarch, Yu Xiangtian, had to agree and sign it. You want to stay out of this? Not a chance. Life and death contract, I'll sign it. Yu Feng said loudly. Ling Xiao had put it this way. If he didn't sign it, wouldn't that mean he was afraid? How could he stay in the Yu family in the future? I think we need to discuss this matter at length. One is the Yu family's honored guest. The other is the Yu family's genius. It's a pity for either of them to die. How about this? How about we stop when it's appropriate? Yu Dingtian suddenly said. Yu Feng was his son. Even if others didn't love him, he would. It wasn't that he didn't trust his son, but Ling Xiao's performance was just too eye-catching. If an accident really happened, wouldn't he be heartbroken? Stop when it's appropriate? Hee hee. Ling Xiao let out a mocking laugh and said, If that's the case, then forget it. I've had enough fun. It's the Yu family who doesn't have the guts. It's not that I, Ling Xiao, don't want to fight. After saying that, he was about to leave. Stop right there. I've already agreed to sign the life and death contract. Are you still not satisfied? Yu Feng roared. He couldn't afford to lose face like this. What's the use of agreeing? Actually, it doesn't matter if you agree or not. I don't care. What I care about is the Yu family's patriarch's opinion. Ling Xiao looked at Yu Xiangtian and said calmly, How about this? We'll set a rule that we can't destroy each other's inner cores. What do you think? Yu Xiangtian thought for a moment and said, As the patriarch, he had to protect the Yu family's dignity, but he couldn't just watch Yu Feng die. This was the most appropriate thing to do. As long as the inner core and soul wasn't destroyed, Yu Feng could still be revived. Fine, let's do it this way. Ling Xiao thought about it and decided that this was fine too. It was fine as long as it didn't affect his performance. It's good that you agreed. You managed to avoid a battle in the Fengdu demonic forest. Today, I let you know the true power of a perfect heavenly core warrior. Yu Feng revealed a ferocious expression, not dying and being able to unleash his full strength. These conditions were extremely good for him. As soon as Yu Feng finished speaking, the Yu family's disciples, who had been feeling dispirited after losing the previous 2 matches, finally disappeared. What replaced it was excitement and revelry. This Ling Xiao is very powerful, but compared to a genius disciple like Senior Brother Yu Feng, he's nothing. That's right, Senior Brother Yu Feng. Avenge our dead brothers. How dare you behave so atrociously in my Yu family? Today I'll make you lose all face. That's right, Senior Brother Yu Feng. Although we can't kill him, we can destroy his physical body to let him know. There was no point in having a strong body. On behalf of our Yu family, make him kneel down and sing Conquer. These cowards didn't dare to come out when Ling Xiao challenged them. Now that they saw Yu Feng on the stage, they were excited again. What a bunch of despicable people. Dingtian, pay attention. If Yu Feng is in danger, immediately go and rescue him. Yu Xiangtian looked at Yu Dingtian and said, Does second brother also think that Feng isn't a match for Ling Xiao? Yu Dingtian asked in surprise. I'm not sure. Yu Xiangtian shook his head and said, Ling Xiao was able to obtain the demonic epiphyllum. It definitely wasn't a scheme like those kids said. Let's wait and see. It would be best if Yu Feng can win. If he can't win, just remember to save Yu Feng's life. Understood, second brother. Yu Dingtian nodded and looked at the stage. He became much more serious. There were existences like Yu Qiong and Ghost Sword in the demonic epiphyllum contest. For Ling Xiao to be able to stand out, he must have his merits. He couldn't be careless. Of course, Yu Feng also knew this point. Thus, he didn't dare to be careless. He personally participated in the Fengdu Devil Forest battle. It was also the time when Puppet City in the south resisted the beast tide. He personally witnessed Ling Xiao's speed and cunning. When dealing with such a person, he absolutely couldn't be careless. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Boom! Behind Yu Feng, a black shadow instantly appeared. This was the Yu family's ancestral devil shadow martial soul. The powerful part of the devil shadow was that it could transform into different shapes to help martial artists in battle. After the devil shadow martial soul was released, the surrounding air suddenly became gloomy. It was as if someone had moved the underworld to the mortal world. Yu Feng's entire body emitted an extremely terrifying aura. Some of the young martial artists who were closer to the stage all retreated and felt their entire body trembling. Chills. This kind of oppressive might was not an illusion. Instead, it was a very real feeling. Senior brother Yufeng is so scary. This feeling is already about to break through the extreme state of Dan. That Ling Xiao can't even withstand this aura. Someone muttered. That's right. I think that guy will definitely kneel down and apologize. However, when they looked at Ling Xiao, they realized that Ling Xiao didn't seem to notice the terrifying aura at all. Not only did he stand there without moving, but he also had a disdainful smile on his face. How could the will of the Sky Tyrant martial soul lose to a mere Devil Shadow martial soul? The Devil Shadow was just a small shadow in the Sky Tyrant universe. It was nothing to worry about. Facing Yufeng, Ling Xiao directly transformed into the peerless heavenly rat beast soul. The ferocious transformation revealed a cruel aura. This was also his most powerful combat strength without using the Sky Tyrant martial soul. He didn't draw his sword. At this moment, Ling Xiao's arms were two divine grade Heavenly King artifact swords. Sharp sword chi was released from his arms. The East Victory Sky sword and East Victory demonic sword were too eye-catching. He didn't want to use them, nor did he need to, because now the strength of his physical body had reached the divine grade Heavenly King artifact level. It was even more terrifying than the celestial grade Heavenly King artifact in Yufeng's hands. Violent sword chi bloomed. A terrifying sword intent rushed into the sky. Ling Xiao's body released a bloody and murderous aura. There was a hint of contempt and disdain in his eyes. He looked at Yufeng opposite him and said, "Perhaps when we were in the Fengdu Demon Forest, I was indeed no match for you. But now I'll let you make 3 moves. After 3 moves, it will be your defeat." Since he couldn't kill Yufeng, then he would have to torture him mentally. If he could still defeat him after letting him make 3 moves, then his opponent would definitely suffer a serious mental blow. It wouldn't be so easy to get back on his feet again. Arrogant to the extreme. Yufeng roared angrily. He was really being looked down upon. The Yu family's martial artists were also indignant, thinking that Ling Xiao was just putting on a show. However, Yu Xiangtian, who saw the strength of Ling Xiao's physical body, frowned. This kid is arrogant, but he has the qualifications to be arrogant. His physical body is probably equivalent to a divine grade Heavenly King artifact level defensive treasure. That's right. Only the City of Gold has such a powerful body refining martial art, right? 3 little schwa network. 3 cube carat x carat is worth collecting. Chapter 40, 239. It seems that this kid is right. His status in Golden City is probably really high. The person behind him might really be second only to the Golden Emperor. He might even be the Golden Emperor. The more outstanding Ling Xiao's performance was, the more Yu Xiangtian believed what Ling Xiao said before. The more he didn't dare to easily kill Ling Xiao. This was also one of Ling Xiao's strategies. Humph, shameless boasting guy, go to hell. Yufeng had already condensed his attack. The Demon Shadow martial soul turned into a huge black saber. It chopped down towards Ling Xiao's head. Demon Shadow Supreme Saber. Kill, kill, kill. He didn't intend to hold back. The first move was his most powerful attack. The surrounding black energy condensed towards the Demon Shadow Supreme Saber. It made the saber's power continue to rise. It formed a terrifying scene that blotted out the sky. Then, it crazily rushed towards Ling Xiao. This attack, even if it was a martial artist of the same cultivation level, would be chopped to death by this saber. Not to mention that Ling Xiao was just a martial artist of the middle stage of the Earth Core realm. It would be strange if he couldn't be killed. However, Ling Xiao just smiled coldly. He gently stepped on the ground. Yin Yang Universal, Light Tiger Beast Soul, Universal Light Body. Falling Plum Clear Shadow Step. His speed had reached the extreme. Even a martial artist of the extreme core realm would find it difficult to catch up with him, not to mention a mere Yufeng. He admitted that Yu Feng's attack was very powerful, but if he couldn't touch him, it was meaningless. Boom! The terrifying Demon Shadow Supreme, Saber, chopped down on the stage. The entire arena was split into two halves. This was a specially made stage. It turned out to be like this. If it was an ordinary stage, it would have shattered long ago. But it didn't matter if the stage was split in half. Anyway, the victory and defeat of the two had nothing to do with the stage. It was to beat the opponent until he couldn't fight back. One move, standing behind Yufeng. Ling Xiao didn't make a move. He said he would let the other party make 3 moves, so he would let the other party make 3 moves. He meant what he said. Otherwise, how could he humiliate Yufeng? If you have the ability, don't dodge. Take my attack head on, Yufeng roared. Although your words are somewhat idiotic, I will fulfill your wish. I'm just afraid that you still can't hurt me. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. This time I won't dodge. You can attack. Spectre Blade. The same attack came crashing down. Yu Feng's eyes flashed viciously. I don't believe that I can't kill you. Ling Xiao really didn't dodge. He stretched out his arms to greet her. His entire body emitted a golden light. He had already entered the state of invincible Vajra. Bang! When the Spectre Supreme's saber collided with the golden light, it had already lost most of its power. Although the golden light was shattered, but then the saber energy fell. It was easily blocked by Ling Xiao's arm. What bullshit, demonic shadow paragon saber. You dare to call yourself a paragon with something like this? Stop deceiving yourself. Ling Xiao mocked. That's the second move. You have one more chance. Hateful. Yu Feng felt the disappointed gazes of the Yu family's disciples around him, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. He was second only to Yu Qiong among the Yu family's geniuses under the age of 50, but now he was being played like a monkey. This feeling was really too depressing. Demonize. Yu Feng finally demonized. This was also the final trump card of a demonic cultivator. Although the Demon King could increase their combat strength sharply, but at the same time it also consumed a lot of physical strength and vital essence. So they wouldn't do it until the last moment. But Yu Feng had no other way. Facing Ling Xiao, he could only do this. If he wanted to win, he could only do this. Otherwise, he would become a laughing stock. The increase in strength of demonization is really strong. Ling Xiao's expression became serious. However, it just so happens that I have cultivated the 12 divine beasts technique to the 3rd level. I'll use you to test my saber. He felt Yu Feng's strength. Ling Xiao didn't dare to be careless. He finally took out the heavenly victory sword. What a powerful weapon. I feel that even if it's placed among the divine heavenly king weapons, it's still top-notch. Ling Xiao really has someone behind him. The moment he saw the heavenly victory sword, Yu Xiangtian completely believed Ling Xiao's words. He didn't believe that a person without a backer could get such a powerful weapon. Ding Tian, get ready to save him. Yu Xiangtian glanced at Yu Dingtian and said, Understood. Yu Dingtian sighed. Although the outcome hadn't been decided yet, the battle had already progressed to this point. If he couldn't defeat Ling Xiao by demonization, then his son Yu Feng was basically defeated. So at that moment he had to save Yu Feng, so that Yu Feng wouldn't be killed by Ling Xiao. Even if he wasn't killed, he would probably be seriously injured. He didn't want to see that happen. After demonizing, Yu Feng still used the same move, but the power had increased by dozens of times. In the sky, there were even black lightning constantly falling. The Yu clan's disciples were all terrified. Ling Xiao, who bore the brunt, naturally felt the terror of this move, but he still maintained a faint smile. The heavenly victory sword was brewing a powerful force, but he didn't prepare to attack. because he said that he would let the opponent make 3 moves. In other words, he would only defend and not attack. This was the 3rd move. He took out the Heavenly Victory sword to counterattack. The moment the opponent's 3rd move was blocked, he would counterattack. He couldn't let the Yu clan rescue Yu Feng unharmed. Otherwise, he would suffer a great loss. He had to severely injure Yu Feng. Otherwise, he wouldn't feel at ease. As for the method to block Yu Feng's attack, he had already thought of it. The Heavenly Victory sword in his right hand began to brew 3 forces, preparing to counterattack. His left hand began to brew a terrifying palm wind. The moment the demonized Yu Feng's attack descended, Ling Xiao blasted out his left palm. Heaven-covering palm imprint. The black giant palm was used as a defensive tool. Yu Feng's demonic saber's power was constantly released. The black power ruthlessly smashed onto the giant palm imprint. But it didn't have much meaning. Although the heaven-covering palm imprint was only cultivated to the small success stage, its power had already reached the peak of the 8th level Emperor level. It was indestructible. The 3rd move is over. It's my turn to counterattack. Ling Xiao sneered. He released the attack that he had long prepared from the Heavenly Victory sword in his right hand. Blood-piercing rat. 9 heavens, ice dragon. Flying flame lion. Roaring blood-flying squirrel. Flying silver ice dragon. Blazing majestic lion. The 3 forces blended in the air and then condensed into one. It erupted with a terrifying power, close to the 9th level Emperor level martial skill. The entire earth seemed to be shaking. The scene was extremely shocking. When Yu Dingtian wanted to stop it, it was already too late, because Ling Xiao's attack had already been brewed. Next, it was only an instant launch. He soared into the air and wanted to stop it, but he was stopped by Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Don't worry. Our young master knows what he's doing. Yu Feng won't die. In this moment of obstruction, the attack had already landed. 3 little schwa network. 3 cubed carat x carat O is worth collecting. Chapter 4240. The Power of 3 Different Divine Beasts. The Eastern Victory Sky Sword was filled with a destructive, murderous, and eerie aura. It shot straight towards Yu Feng. This move could be said to be the strongest move that Ling Xiao could perform at the moment. How was Yu Feng going to block it? Even with his devil form, Yu Feng's strongest martial skill was only at the peak of the 8th level Emperor realm. But the 3rd level of the 12 Divine Beasts arts was equivalent to a 9th level Emperor realm martial skill. In addition to the Eastern Victory Sky Sword's amplification, its power was definitely stronger than Yu Feng's attack. In the face of the oncoming sword chi, Yu Feng was completely dumbfounded at that moment. He couldn't dodge it. He couldn't block it. He could even feel that his life was under the most serious threat. The sword chi wrapped in this power tore apart all of his defenses. In the end, the sword energy wrapped around his entire body. No! Yu Feng let out a terrified scream. But it was useless. The sword energy had devoured him. Only his inner core was left floating in the air. Yu Feng's entire body was completely destroyed. A peak 8th heavenly core warrior was pretty strong. Ling Xiao's attack had almost exhausted all of his strength to achieve this result. It wasn't that he didn't want to kill Yu Feng. The problem was that he couldn't kill him. It looked like his cultivation base was still too weak. If he could reach the peak of the Earth Core realm, this attack would be able to kill Yu Feng in an instant. However, the current effect was already sufficient. After destroying Yu Feng's body, even if he wanted to recover, it would take him a very long time. By the time he recovered, Ling Xiao would have already left the Heavenly Devil Ghost territory. He wouldn't have this guy's noisy voice anymore. He, the top genius of the Yu family. You've really given the Yu family face. I said, I'll let you have 3 moves, so I'll let you have 3 moves. I didn't go back on my words, but you still lost. Ling Xiao put away the heavenly victory sword and glanced arrogantly at the inner core in the void. As long as he wanted to, he could shatter the inner core at any time. But forget it. He didn't want to infuriate Yu Xiangtian, which would make things difficult for him in the future. Feng! Yu Dingtian hurriedly snatched the Niden and glared at Ling Xiao with hatred. Brat, you're ruthless enough. What a joke. I'm already giving your family face by not killing him. What are you planning to bully the weak? Ling Xiao sneered. Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Green Lotus Swordwoman stood beside him and looked at Yu Dingtian, just in case Yu Dingtian suddenly made a move. After all, the members of the Yu family were rather shameless. Let's go. Ling Xiao sneered and left just in time. However, another voice was heard. You want to escape so soon? You seem to have forgotten that the most outstanding genius under 50 years old in the Yu family is me, Yu Qiong, and not Yu Feng. Yu Qiong, who had been watching from the side, suddenly spoke up. It was obvious that they saw that Ling Xiao had expended a lot of energy, so they came out to take the credit. How could I forget about Yu Qiong? However, if I were to fight with you, I wouldn't be merciful. It was better to fight to the death. After all, I'm not as strong as you. Ling Xiao looked at Yu Qiong, who was in the crowd. He still had a trump card, so he naturally wasn't afraid. Enough, Yu Qiong. Let him go. Yu Xiangtian suddenly spoke. Yu Qiong was indeed very powerful, but Ling Xiao still had the giant demon that he hadn't used. If they were to fight, it wasn't certain who would win or lose. Yu Feng was already in such a state, and he didn't want Yu Qiong to take the risk. Family head. Yu Qiong was somewhat unwilling. Yu Qiong, since you want to be in the limelight, why don't I accompany you? All of a sudden, a voice rang out. A person suddenly appeared on the stage. Ghost Sword, why are you here? This is a matter between me and Ling Xiao. When Yu Qiong saw Ghost Sword, her expression instantly turned extremely ugly. The time between you and him? But I've been observing that your Yu family seems to be taking turns to fight, right? You have already changed 3 groups of people. Can't you allow him to change 1 person? Ghost Sword said indifferently. Why are you helping him? Don't forget he's from the Golden Sky region, and you're from the Sky Devil Ghost region. Yu Qiong said angrily. I can't help it. I just owe him a favor. Do you want to fight? If not, we're leaving. Ghost Sword said indifferently. Hateful. Yu Qiong gritted her teeth. She didn't dare to fight Ghost Sword at all, because she knew that she was no match for him. Would she go up and make a fool of herself? Everyone in the Yu family could only watch as Ling Xiao and Ghost Sword left. Why is the Demon Emperor's disciple on such good terms with Ling Xiao? Could it be that Ling Xiao is the Golden Emperor's illegitimate son? Yu Xiangtian, however, thought of another problem. But this guy's imagination was really wild. His thinking was too deceiving. With Ling Xiao's departure, the scene instantly fell into a dead silence. The Yu family members' expressions were very ugly. They even looked a little ferocious. Someone had killed their people in front of them, and even beat Yu Feng until he was left with only his inner core. However, there was nothing they could do. They could only watch helplessly as others left. This kind of sullen feeling was really too unpleasant. Damn it! A few moments later, a voice broke the silence. It was Yu Qiong's helpless roar. Was what happened just now real? That Ling Xiao is only a mid-earth core warrior. But why is his combat strength so strong? You're asking me, but who am I supposed to ask? Damn it, could it be that this guy is hiding his true strength and pretending to be weak? Also, why does he have such a good relationship with Ghost Sword? Ghost Sword is the Demon Emperor's disciple. This is really depressing. This is really unpleasant. After the silence was broken, the younger generation of the Yu family were filled with righteous indignation. Before this, They were mocking Ling Xiao for only knowing how to concoct pills. But after the fight, their faces were all slapped swollen. A bunch of trash. None of them were able to hurt Ling Xiao, but they were all beaten up by Ling Xiao. Yu Xiangtian, Yu Wentian, Yu Dingtian, Yu Lianhua. The expressions of the four managers were also very ugly. What was that martial skill he used at the end? I feel like it's close to a 9th grade Emperor martial skill, but he's only a 7th grade divine core warrior. Logically speaking, he shouldn't be able to use it. Also, a martial skill of this level. How could any rogue cultivator get his hands on it? Yu Lianhua said with a frown. That's why I said he has a powerful background. Look at how nice Ghost Sword is to him. Yu Xiangtian gritted his teeth. He was confused as well. He couldn't figure out Ling Xiao's true identity anymore. I don't care who he is. Since he hurt my son, I'll make him pay, Yu Dingtian said while gritting his teeth. That's right, he must pay. Yu Wentian agreed. He has to pay the price, but not now. The Demon Emperor has reached a critical moment in his possession. This kid is helping us destroy his sister's soul like an idiot. It's almost over. Let's wait until he's done. Yu Xiangtian sneered. We'll listen to the Patriarch's orders. The other 3 men cupped their fists and said. Yu Xiangtian nodded his head. Then he turned to the geniuses and elders of the Yu family and said, You've all seen what happened today. If you fall behind, you'll be beaten. Geniuses memorized this site's address. Pinnacle mobile version. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.